point is, again, regarding 127, and that's the parking that, you know, the applicant came up with 30 originally, and then the building department plan examiner decided it only needed to be, I think, 10 and one loading. And she cited our code over the state code. Is that correct, Lucas? Is that her reasoning or his? So you know, thank you for sending me the articles that pertain to it. I mean, right at the beginning of this section, it states that if there's more than one use, you have to incorporate the required parking for both those uses. Now, through my observation, they're operating a body repair shop in the building on the property. And they're using it as a garage they're going in and out of, which are two things: eliminating the spaces in front of that facility, that building, and creating a higher level of required off-street parking, which is not being accounted for. And again, doesn't sound right to me.
It doesn't seem that there are actually 10 spaces there that are usable, because one goes into a stairway. It's like marked off as if they're 10, but there's like maybe 8 that are actually usable. So it's deficient.
Yeah, it's
It doesn't meet any requirements.
Well, I've seen the plan, and that's based on the plan, and require, but she said you're required to have 10 spaces. So the plan meets that on paper. However, he noted that because of that stairway that you mentioned, one of those parking spaces blocked that stairway, so you can't count. So when you remove that, now you've got 9, and 9 regular parking spaces, 0 loading spaces. He said you need to have 10 parking spaces, 1 loading space, so they're deficient.
Even with the lower standard.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't meet it. And then I think there's one handicap spot there.
But I believe that's included in the 10
Yeah,
spaces.
so that's included. But
Can I just add also?
Right, one spot plus loading, or it's, if they provide a loading, if they rearrange the plan and said that you can only have 7 regular parts. Either way, it's a variance. If they provide a loading, then you've got, but I don't know why you would use especially to be loading space that, so. Other than.
It's in the code.
It's in the code.
It's in the code.
Why could not control it? Full bit of variance. But yeah, so they're gonna be deficient either way. It's just a matter of how you want.
Well, but again, beyond that is the discussion we just had earlier. You were here relative to the fact that they have a facility that it's using it as a body shop. And the body shop is blocking 2 spaces because they're moving cars in and out and working in that active building. And so clearly in our code, it requires, if there are multiple uses on the site, that both of those businesses require, you need to combine the number of spaces that each one of those businesses would require. So I question, and I don't accept the interpretation of the building department. Now, I don't know where that stands relative to our ability as a zoning board.
You're a public board, so they are going to be dealing with the appeal and the decision of the plan. That's it.
So explain to me again in a different language.
It's like her, the judge, and the parking ticket is for 10 spaces. You gotta go with what how the ticket was for.
Oh, so we cannot question the building department's interpretation of.
You're appealing, the applicant's appealing the decision of the planning center. You're the appellate board that hears the appeal.
Okay,
So you don't get to,
You know, you can say what you want.
all right, so, well, but unfortunately,
For. That's what it is.
doesn't that open the city to an Article 78? I mean,
Would if you.
well, that has nothing to do with us. You're saying that we cannot say that we do not accept the building department's interpretation.
Say that.
Okay,
You can say
but, okay, so,
deciding is what she wrote.
okay, so in reality then, since we can't really even say that it should be more spaces required, then we don't,
Say that.
oh, okay, we can say that, but it doesn't change the variance that is being up for us to
Right.
adjudicate or whatever.
Mr. Chair, I mean, this is not something that they can cure. In other words, where else are they going to find, another space? They don't have.
Well, we took, remember when they first came to us before the cannabis legislation was written, we heard them for one, maybe two meetings, I don't remember, but we took the stance that, it doesn't make sense for the zoning board of appeals to be making a judgment on this application for a use variance when the city's in the process of writing a code for cannabis. So we asked the city council to take up this, and they did. And so it came off of our plate. And at that time, though, one of our questions was, and our concerns was parking, even back then. And the conversation was, well, what can you find on the block that you can incorporate to meet your parking requirements? And there was some talk about a lot across the street or down the block. I don't recall exactly. So that's how they would be able to remedy it if they needed more spots. It's not like, oh, it's just like we have in many other applications where parking requirements are not being met, they have the ability to meet those off of the site.
And that's fine for the parking, but I mean, the sign and the proximity to the church, it can't cure that. You can't.
No, well, but we have the ability to give them an area variance on the parking, on the sign distance to the church, and the sign distance to the playground. That's what we have the ability to do. Doesn't mean that we have to do it. We have to weigh it. And so again, my opinion, and it's my opinion alone at this point, but to me, the parking thing is an extreme. I mean, it may look like a minor variance, but because of the way it was interpreted by the building department, it looks like a minor variance. But I would argue that it's not a minor variance, that it was misinterpreted by the building department. We don't have any rights to tell them to change it. But we can make the statement as to why we feel that their decision was apparent, to me, incorrect. And therefore, even though you just need a variance for two spaces, we don't have to grant. So
it's also self-created.
what's that?
It's also self-created.
Oh, yeah, no, it's all self-created. And
Yeah.
again, it's not like we don't want this business there. It's just there's a lot of history here in this, and there's the other thing relative to the letter by Badali that I found, what was written in May 7th, where he was a man who was representing the applicant who decided to then write a letter to the city that, oh, by the way, I made a lot of mistakes in analyzing this application, and, it's this issue, that issue, the other issue, said everything except I'm not representing them anymore. I mean, I'm surprised that the applicant is still having him represent him, but that is the
Well, and
case.
he
The
also
question is,
said that-
what are all those things? What,
Yeah,
what's the,
but in that correspondence, he said it needed 19 spaces, right?
well, originally his interpretation
interpretation?
would be 30.
It was 30, but then it was.
Yeah, no, it's been a moving target. Okay, so, Oh, are we live? Are we going live? Have we been live? Okay. Okay. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We were just in our work session. And we've, now it's 6:30 and we're going to start the public hearing. Let me get my act together here. Sorry. So, this is a meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, meeting and hearing, the agenda for September 16th. The first item on the agenda is the roll call. Maria?
Please respond when I say your name. Commissioner Bowl-Adipo,
Here,
Commissioner Castillo,
Present.
Commissioner Pinnock, Chair Justino.
Here.
All four of you are present and we have a quorum.
Okay, and then item 2 is approval of minutes from the July 15th, 2025 meeting. Does anybody have comments about it initially? And if not, does anybody want to make a motion to accept them? Or reject them?
Move approval.
You move for approval of the minutes?
Mhm.
Okay, and is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So just so that everybody knows too, I'm gonna move the agenda around a little bit. Because there's 4 items on the agenda, 2 returning and 2 new ones. One of the returning ones is a fairly simple and should be a quick process. The other 2 new ones are fairly simple and should be quick. And so as not to keep everybody around, because I think we have a bit more to talk about when it comes to 127 South Terrace Avenue. So we'll put that at the end of the agenda. So the item number 3 is an administrative item, extension of time request, 3.1 case number ZB 2510. 28-30 Millington Street, section 169-25, block 4055, lot 6.1 and 6.2 in the R 4.5 two-family residence zone. The board has received an affidavit of sign posting stating that the September 4th, 2025, a sign was posted on the site giving notice of the zoning board September 16, 2025 meeting. The board also received photographs showing that the sign posting on the property has been updated, providing notice of today's meeting. The owner, Shia Friend, is that correct? Millington Project LLC is represented by his architect, Shaheen Badali.
Well,
The applicant is seeking to obtain a time extension on the area variance for lot width and frontage to allow for the finished construction of a 2-story, 2-family frame dwelling. The subject property is 250 square foot lots is located on Millington Street between South Columbus Avenue and Newburgh Avenue in the R2-4.5 two-family residential district. The area variance requested, section 267, is lot width and frontage. The required is 50 feet. The proposed is 37.5. It's a variance of 12.5 feet or 25%. The application has been sent to the fire department, the police department, the water bureau, DPW, the city engineers for comment. The application is not subject to referral to the Westchester County Planning Board. SECRA, the proposed area variance is a type 2 action under SECRA based on 6 NYCRR C17, granting of an area variance for a single family, 2-family and 3-family residence, therefore ending the SECRA process. So I don't see Mr. Badali here, so if you can introduce yourself.
There's a
I don't think the mic's on.
Is the light turned red?
Just keep your finger on it a while, yeah.
My name is Kevin Monene, representing Shaheen Badali on this application.
Okay,
So we are requesting an extension of the variance that was initially approved a couple of years ago, I believe 2023. There has been no change to the design. The reason we're back to request this extension is because the assessor's office was not able to separate the lots in time for it to be updated on the tax map and things of that nature. So we are requesting to obtain a variance, 25% variance for the sizes of the lot. as initially stated in the statements.
So are you saying that when you came before us, there was not a request for this variance? This variance is new?
No, this was initially approved. That variance was initially,
Variance was approved. It's
Yeah.
just now an extension for you to get the project going,
yes, sir.
correct? Okay. So I did go by the site. I see that there's excavation and some rock removal that was done. When did that start, and was there a building permit for that?
Yes, we do have a building permit for the excavation, foundation excavation.
Okay,
And that was started in July, about July.
all right.
Yeah.
Can you please make that building permit a copy for the record?
Yes, we do have it. We can send it.
Say that, I'm sorry.
We do have it. We do.
It's on OpenGov.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now, but we can issue it to the planning board.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Lucas, is that okay? You can, do you want them to send it to you even though it's on OpenGov? I just would like it to be part of the record.
If you don't mind, if you.
Yeah.
I don't forget.
No worries.
Okay, great, thank you. And so, what was the cause of the delay? Just the city administration of
Yes, sir.
splitting the lots?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Didn't the project actually start in 2021?
No, we hadn't received approvals up until 2023 is when we received the zoning board approval and a couple other permits that we have extensions for besides the zoning.
What are the other permits that you have extensions for?
I believe we have the foundation permit. Do you have a copy of the?
I can explain a little bit more. It took time, first of all, to get the county also.
all right,
To
so
get
if you could just give us your name and.
P.F. Freund,
Okay, and so you're the
Millington
owner,
Project LLC. So from when we originally got the approvals and the variances and everything requested, took a lot of time for the county to divide the lots, to do the updated map. Eventually, when I got it, it was still on time before my extension expired, but then it got stuck in the assessor's office. And it's all explained in the letter to Commissioner Holder. I heard before why we didn't upload. There is a letter updated and uploaded to Commissioner Holder. I believe it's dated in July 1st, explaining the chain of events. But as far as the project, we are now ready. We have the contractor right over here. We're gonna have two brand new beautiful houses over there. So everything is ready and set. It was just an administrative delay more than anything else.
so I know it says, and maybe I missed it, Maria, in the packet, that it says we do have a copy of the operating agreement for the LLC.
We should, yes.
I mean, I can send that in if.
Yeah, no, it says we got it. I just didn't see it, and I'm always just want to be sure, you know.
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay. Okay,
Oh,
that's fine.
sorry, I'm looking them up.
So are these houses going to be,
We have it.
we do have it, but they're going to be rentals or they're going to be owner occupied? What's the plan?
We're gonna be selling it for owner occupants.
All right, so you're going to build and you're going to sell them, and then whatever those people do is their call, whether they owner occupied.
They're most probably gonna be owner occupied.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I understand you can't really answer that question, so. All right, and your funding is all in place to make this happen at this point? And what do you expect for job, start the foundation, and maybe the contractor can answer those questions? Okay,
March. They say by March of next year.
so you'll be
Spring.
completed by March of next year.
Yeah, hopefully spring, yep.
Okay, that's a pretty quick timeline since it's September. You confident in that, or? Okay, are you going any deeper for the foundation, or? So it's going to be on slab?
Almost, we're like 2 feet below the elevation of the street.
Okay. All right, so there'll be no basement. On the right side, I don't know the property, the grade is a bit higher, yeah. Okay. All right. Before we have ask the public if they want to speak, are there any questions from the other board members?
Not just,
Oh,
excuse
I had a
me, I just
question.
want to make sure that you did say there's no change to the application.
No.
No.
I have a question from the standpoint of the construction, because you're saying, I do agree it's going to be a little quick. Is it prefab or the,
No,
no?
it's not. It's not prefab, but 6 months is a pretty decent timeline for a one family, two-story building. Six
Okay.
times is reasonable. 6 months is reasonable.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'd ask if there's anybody, say that again? There is a staff.
From Public Works, they have a comment,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, let's read that in and so we can hear it.
Okay, so we received a memo from the Department of Public Works. They just had 3 questions. Well, they asked if you could provide additional information on the drawings to accurately depict the proposed work scopes that take place beyond the property line, including but not necessarily limited to sidewalk area, driveway apron, and splay, curb, tree, lawn area, and street. And then what they did was they show you, they circled the plan.
Okay, the curb cuts?
Yeah, I
Okay,
just want more information on that.
sure.
And then they said, provide information pertaining to proposed lowered curbs or new driveways, including length, distance from property line, construction details, et cetera. And then the third was, is new gas service proposed also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Yes, yeah, okay, so we will issue those details on the revised plans if that's acceptable. It's just a matter of issuing construction details and dimensioning the length of the curb cut. And then as far as the gas service, we can show the location of the gas line at the front, the utility line. Minor drafting changes, if acceptable, for as a condition for approval, we'll definitely address it.
Okay, thank you.
And-
Mr. Chair,
Good.
may I ask, can you give us like a breakdown of a chronological list of events that have happened since the last extension until now? And I'm asking just because the rules require a written request for the extension. So I just want to make sure all the requirements are addressed.
Okay, thank you, Nkechi. So there was a requirement that a letter be written with the chronology of why you're looking for the extension, and I guess that wasn't supplied. So we'll do it verbally now, as long as the answers sound reasonable. We could vote on this by either conditioning it or denying the extension or whatever, but yes, if I'll let Nkechi read those things, and if you can answer
So-
them.
Again, there is a detailed letter to Commissioner Holder. It's also an OpenGov dated July 1st, 2025. Basically, it was just like I said, being, I don't know, maybe 6 or maybe more months by the county with the mapping and everything. After everything was granted over here, we have to go to the county, the Department of Health, of getting the new map numbers. This was a subdivision. So there's new mapping involved. So it was just a lot of paperwork, and not from our side that we decided we might not do the project. It was just following step after step,
Red
get
tape.
where, and then we got stuck at the tax assessor's office. Nothing happened with the project, or, I mean, we did on a daily basis follow up on everything. It's just a paperwork process of dividing the actual lots, meaning the map. That was hold up on timing.
And when did your initial approval expire?
I believe in 2020.
November 21, 2023 is when it was
Yeah.
stamped.
2024. No, the first one is November 3rd, 2024, I believe.
It was expired November 3rd, 2024.
So there was a time extension already granted,
Yes.
and so this is the second time extension
Right.
that's being requested.
Yep.
Okay. Nkechi, you want to read the specifics that he should be answering so that when he sends his letter in, it jives with what's being asked.
Okay, there are essentially four criteria. One was the reason for the extension request. And I'm understanding that it was just a process in getting the subdivision approved at the county and city levels. Two, whether there's been a change in the application or project. We heard that there's been no change. Three, whether there have been any changes in the surrounding area that may affect the project. Can you comment on that?
There's no changes.
Okay, no change. And then provide a chronological list of events. My understanding is a letter went to the buildings department, which is separate from the zoning board, but if that letter is available and they can make that, forward that to the planning department, essentially the chronological list consists of, again, getting clearance from the county Department of Health regarding the subdivision map and also the tax assessor. So, and then the potential conditions would be submitting a copy of the building permit, complying with all of DPW comments. We'll add the date of those comments. And if there's anything further, and I understand we have the LLC operating agreement.
Yeah, and then, as I said earlier, the building permit where you were granted the ability to start the foundation work. So, and relative to the chronology, I think you should start with when you first submitted your application, when you went before the board, when you got the date, you got the approval, date you came in for an extension, and then obviously this current date of request for an extension. And that should be pretty complete.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So is anybody here that wants to speak regarding this application? Anyone here wishing to speak regarding 28-30 Millington Street? Anybody here to speak about 28-30 Millington
Are
Street?
you raising your hand?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Is somebody here?
yes, he wants the gentleman in the second row.
Okay. Please come up to the microphone, give us your name and give us your thoughts.
Good evening, I'm from 36 Millington Street. I'm like, one house down from the project that is being, worked on. My concern as a homeowner is, the process of, information that's being given to us, the homeowners. Number one, when I went and asked, the time, because they was coming early at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning doing work. Number two, who, just in case of an emergency, who do we contact? All right. Number three, when they do close down at that specific time, what safety thing that they have set up? Because we have kids in the neighborhood, we have the school across the street. The gentleman that was there, I asked him all this information and he said he got permission, I asked him to see who's in charge of the project, who's the project manager, who's involved. No information from him. He showed me a paper, but he wouldn't let me see it, right? One of my neighbor next door, his wife is kind of sick and, starting the project at 7 or 7:30 in the morning, that's kind of early for us. You understand me?
Okay, so we'll try to determine what the,
Number two is that, what if there's an accident on the property? Who do we contact?
okay, so are there any other questions? Because you've asked that, we're going to try to get the
Yes.
answers.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to know? Or how about if we start with who can the neighbors contact if there are questions about the project?
So there's a project manager on site every day, and we'll have sign posted with all the information, but we aren't able to do it just yet because of the frequency of the trucks moving in and out of the job site. But as soon as,
So the project manager, can you give us that name?
yeah, I can give you the name. His name is Donovan.
Donovan
What?
What's his last name?
Cousins.
Donovan
I can
Cousins.
provide his number too, his contact information.
Okay, so that is also what you'll need to do as a condition of our approval.
Okay.
The construction manager, name and phone number.
Okay.
Safety issues. I'm assuming that you call 911 if there is a medical emergency or the other question though was finishing the end of the day and closing the site so that it's safe.
It is, we have some protected barriers and we have the caution tape. And
So you don't have a construction fence.
we'll have a fence soon.
You will have
We
a
will,
fence?
yeah, we'll have
All
a
right.
fence.
So you've done excavation, but there's no fence along the front of the site at this point?
No, because of the frequency of the trucks and the topography of the land at the time was like 8 foot elevated in rocks, and the machine has to get up, and it was difficult to do so. But now that the excavation is complete, we'll erect some protective fence, yeah.
Okay. You can put up a construction fence that has a door on it
Yeah,
for
we
trucks to
will.
go through with a hinge. So
We will do.
in the future, you should keep that in mind because
absolutely.
probably the worst part of the project is the heavy equipment construction.
Yeah,
of
we
the-
will have the fence up within
Okay,
a week or so.
all right. And what was the other, was it?
The starting time of the.
Oh, yeah, the starting time. What's the ordinance? Do we know that? When can noise be generated on a construction site? What time? Is it 8 o'clock? Is it 7? Is it 7:30?
Well, it's 8 till 4.
It's 8 to 4.
And there was
Okay.
one time when we were receiving the actual machine, and they arrive at like 7:30
Yeah,
just to deliver the machine.
okay.
But since then, we know we have to start 8 and finish by 4.
So do you need any heavy equipment on the job moving forward or you?
Not anymore, because we already taken the excavation to get rid of the rocks. It's okay,
Okay,
What was on that site previously?
just rocks.
Okay, not a.
it was a vacant lot.
It's a vacant lot.
I do recall that. Okay, so that's the last time you guys are going to start before 8 o'clock, correct?
Yeah,
Right?
we didn't actually start, but we just.
Well, I understand. The truckers, to get equipment around, they tend to come early,
Yeah.
But you could also let them know you just need to be
Absolutely.
quiet about it. So, all right, did we get answers to all your questions or you have more?
They do have the machine, all right. The last time the wires was tampered with, like,
Yeah,
because the machine is so tall, the wires was pushed down, you understand? And one of the neighbor had to explain to the gentleman, but hey, the wires, you're messing with our wires, and that's basically at the time and and the safety part and who we contact. But they have been gradually, I'm not going to putting up different things to let us know, that they because we had nothing before.
mhm.
And last week or so, well, week and a half, they have been putting up, and the concern is the time in the morning too, because I work at night, you understand me?
Okay. So we're going to get the project manager's name and number and then
I'll provide
I
the
guess
information, Yeah.
Can this gentleman call a planning department you guys can share that information with him? Otherwise, I don't know how to get it to him. Unless you
But
guys,
I'll share it to them.
you can talk together
Yeah.
now and
I'll give it to
that would be terrific.
No, not just him, the other neighbors as well. That should have the same information.
Yeah, right. If you share it with your neighbors, that would be good.
What was that, the construction managers?
Construction manager's name and number.
I had put that as
Yeah,
a
they're
third
going to give it
condition
to
that they would,
us.
that they would post the contact information, the name and phone number of the construction manager on the site.
Okay,
Once the construction fence is bogus erected, then we'll have the sign on the gate.
okay.
Sign
In
is
the meantime, though, please give his name and phone number with this other information that is being asked, and again, is going to be a condition of our, if the board does vote to extend it. And
Yeah,
Lucas wants to say something.
I just need to get your name for the record.
Oh,
Andre Clark. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Who wants to speak too? Okay, come on up, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Efrain Aguilar. I live in 34 Millington. When this project start, confront his guy, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
I said, what y'all gonna do? Guys, no information. We didn't get no letter. We didn't get nothing. So they start first with the tree. But when they bring the machine, it's true what he was saying. They start early, too early, sleeping. I asked the question to the guy, I say, what time y'all gonna start this? He said, at 8 o'clock. I said, okay. There was not enough time to get up and prepare ourselves. 7, boom, 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 boom. Start making all this noise, and we was like, what's going on here? We was still sleeping. Secondly, like I said, security in that property is open. We have a school, a lot of kids coming up. Anything can happen with those kids going into that place. That place is not insulated. All the dust, all over the place. In our house, we was right there, coming into our property. There was no insulation, nothing, no wall, no nothing. You know, I see so many construction, they have this barricade, nobody can get in. Lately, it was this week, somebody came in about the property line, our property, and their property. And they come and say, I think it was him, come and tell me that we took 2 feet from that property. We've been living there for 18 years. 18 years. And how we gonna do it? That was an empty lot. First of all, the lady that used to own that property, she got a permit from here to put a fence there. I don't know how they get this
So,
measurement.
I'm assuming that, you know, oftentimes what you think might be yours
Yeah,
is
yeah, I
not
understand.
totally, and I hope that they have not gone over their property line. But if you have a survey that shows it differently, then you have to, I would say you have to contact someone in the building department to say there's a problem here.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
and then, you know, relative to your other issues, your neighbor expressed the same ones. I think, and I hope that you see that we have some answers or commitments from the builder that he's going to start at 8, that they're going to secure the site better, and that there'll be information and a contact. So relative to the noise that has already happened, really nothing we can do about that.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
we understand. That.
And it looks like they're done with taking a rock out, so that's the most noisy part of the process, so that won't continue.
And the way, when they start that first week, the fellow that was working there with him, he come and tell me that, don't worry about the fence. We have tear it down, we put a new fence. I said, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't do that. This is a private property. You're talking about our fence.
So the fence you're talking about is where? On the east or west part of the property?
The east.
The east side of the property. So I did take a picture.
So I can explain to you. So actually, his fence in some parts is 3 feet in the front, encroaching on 30 Millington. And in the back, it's 9 feet. So the fence runs diagonally. So in the back, they're actually having 9 feet of 30 Millington, right? And in the front, they have 3 feet of 30 Millington. And I explained to him that, you know, we don't necessarily need that now. So we probably won't move your fence. But if a new owner comes in, they may have issue with it. You understand? But for us, we don't see a problem right now.
Okay. Is this application going before the planning board? Does anyone know?
No.
Staff?
No, this, and then that's the end of it.
So it already went to the planning board?
Been to the planning board approved.
You did go to the planning board?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
No,
think
it has to
AR,
go to ARB,
yeah.
so it's at ARB, next week.
Okay.
They already appeared before ARB. So ARB next week. They have to
Okay.
bring in, finishes.
So there's one other thing.
Forget those, please.
One other thing I did notice, the west side of the property line on the west, where the elevation is higher. I see there's a fence towards the back of their property, but there's no fence at the front of the property where there's the 6 foot, 7 foot drop off. So I think you guys have to secure that before somebody. If what I'm looking at is actually still, if it's correct. Do you know that for a fact, or am I?
It's like on top of the garage, but it's not something that someone should be on top of it anyway. So,
Well, again, this is the,
yeah,
and there's no fence from the front of the house to the curb. So that's a safety issue that you should address.
yeah, we're looking
Okay.
good.
All right.
and this application will not need to go before the planning board because it's a two-family home.
Okay. All right. Anybody else in the audience who wants to speak about this application? Okay, Will. Ruin my day. How many people online? None. Okay. All right. Trying to get our ratings up, so I'm going to tell your friends every third Tuesday of the month we're on. All right, so I guess we talked about some of the conditions that we would consider. Do we need to restate those, or are we already good with the conditions we spoke about?
I have three conditions: the building permit, compliance with DPW's comments, and posting the project, the construction manager's contact information on the site.
What about the safety issues? Because the school is, Graham School is across the street.
All right, so we should add that there needs to be a safety fence at the
Within a week. we'll have it.
front of the west side property, so we can put that in as a condition. And also, I do want them to give the project manager's name and cell number to the department in case you get calls from the public. And was there anything else?
I think that was it.
Think so?
That was it.
You have another comment?
Let's see.
Creatures or whatever they are coming over into our area. I heard, I'm assuming, shouldn't something been put down so that we don't have that effect? Or we were like, well, I seen.
You talking about rodents?
Yeah. We got seen a lot of different animals that's now invading now, because little kids live over there, it's coming to a lot of property now, right? The skunks, there's that, it's something that they can put that out to try to deal with that problem.
So it's not unusual when the ground is disturbed that the rodents which live underground will come out and start scurrying around. So a little hard to avoid. I don't know if you've seen much infestation during the process, but if you have, then you can put out the traps or the poison to minimize rodents. So, okay. All right. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Now there's one more person who wants to speak.
Come on up, give us your name. No, that's okay. Come on up to the microphone, please. Because somebody might join us online and they need to hear you.
Hi, my name is Lottie Taylor. I live at 36 Billington. I
Okay.
just would like to know, who do we follow up to make sure that they're complying to what they're supposed to do?
Well,
Construction manager.
but that's a good question. I mean, if you notice something that doesn't seem right, you should notify the building department. If you, I'm not sure I understand exactly what you mean. If you find that they're starting too early, then you should call the building department. If they don't put up a fence, and put the sign out when they start working again, you should call the building department. Okay? I'm shocked. All right, and I don't mean to make light of it, but you know, it's unfortunate. There are issues there. I wish I could tell you that, you know what, there is a gentleman whose job is constituent services. His name is Eric Crump. Does anybody have Eric Crump's phone number here that we can give this gentleman tonight? I think I have it.
I think I may have it.
See, they had permission, to ask for the paperwork on it. I never got it.
No.
It had come around and it said this, and then we find out we didn't have permission, it started from 7 o'clock. So we need somebody that we can contact that we can trust.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a phone number. You want to write it down? All right, it's Eric Crump, C-R-U-M-P, I believe is his spelling. His cell number is 646-796-4147, and he is constituent services. The phone number is 646-796-4147. Eric Crump. Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I make the motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, was there a second?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? That's an aye. Okay, unanimous. Public hearing is closed. So now we're going to, if you guys want to deliberate on anything in particular, or if you already know what you want to do, please bring that up as either a motion or, and we'll ultimately make it a motion.
Okay.
Do we want to deny the extension or grant the extension?
I'm fine with granting the extension with the conditions that Nkechi has read.
Okay,
I second that motion.
okay. So I believe there's a motion to approve the extension with the conditions that we spoke about earlier. And we had a second from Elvira. And I'm assuming it'll be an easy vote, so I'll just ask if all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Is anyone against? I don't think there's anyone left, so it's 4-0. It's passed. You have an extension. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I thought that was going to be short. I apologize, but that's fine. It was a good conversation. So we're going to go to case number ZB 25-6, item 4.3, 55 Oak Ridge Road, section 159.71, block 2254, lot 6 in the R1-7 single family residence zone. Regarding public notice, the board received proof of mailing on September 3rd and proof of publication in the Journal News on September 2nd and September 3rd, 2025. And proof of initial sign posting for the application. The board has also received an affidavit of sign posting stating that on September 2nd, 2025, the sign was posted at the site giving notice of the the zoning board's September 16, 2025 meeting. The board also received photographs showing that the sign posting on the property has been updated, providing notice of today's meeting. The owner, Paul Spichala. Give it to me the right way. Spala. Okay. That may be the last time I say it that way. Is represented by his architect, George Restivo. The applicant is seeking to obtain an extension on an area variance for the proposed finished construction of a covered patio. The subject property is 12,099 square feet, is located at the end of a cul-de-sac on Oak Ledge Road in the R1-7 Single Family Residence Zoning District. The area variance requested is rear yard setback. The required is 20 feet. The proposed is 2.8 feet. Variance requested is 17.2 feet or 86%. The applicant has been sent to the Fire Department, Police Department, the Water Bureau, DPW, and the city engineers for comments. The application is not subject to referral to the Westchester County Planning Board. SECRA, the proposed use and area variance is the type 2 action on SECRA based on 6 NYCRRC 17, granting an area variance for a single family, 2-family, or 3-family residence, therefore ending the SECRA process. And I know that there were comments from at least DPW, and so you want to do that now, or
Let me just,
we do it after?
let me just hold them. I want to do the presentation because there might be questions.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm George Restivo. I'm the architect for the owners. This is an existing patio that is going to be a basically a screened-in patio with a roofed over screened-in patio. It's a 3-season patio. There's no heat. There's no plumbing. We're keeping the patio floor as is. There, of course, is a door to the rear yard. It's 293 square feet, which is really, really nothing compared to the site. But it helps him with, there's an issue with the land, with the gradient of the land on the, I forget what side it is, it's the left side as you face the rear. The grade goes off about 6 or 7 feet down. And what he's done in the past, he's put fences up, but he has grandchildren who come there and they play on the patio, and he's had issues with the fence. So what he wants to do, which makes sense, is to enclose the patio and have it screened in for the summer and the spring and the fall. And the grandchildren won't have to worry about dropping off that like a cliff. And that's one of the basic reasons for what he's doing it. It's not like he's in the room to do anything with, it's a 3-season room, basically.
Okay.
All the other information is in that booklet that I put together.
It's a 3-season room with the same footprint, basic footprint as the patio is now.
Yes.
Is that
The
correct?
same footprint as the patio. The patio is like a semicircle.
Right.
And we're going to follow that exactly. We're not going beyond that. Yeah, it shows
So
on the-
what's the property that is adjacent and backs up to yours where this 2.5 foot proposed setback is going to be?
Where's the property?
So you're proposing 2.5 foot setback, correct? Which would be,
It's actually, it encroaches on, it's 20 feet from the house. If you look at the survey, it's 20 feet from the house, from the corner of the house. When they built the patio that came with the house, the semicircle has kind of a crazy turn to it. And that piece is less than 20 feet. I don't believe it's 2'9" or 2'10". It seems to be more than that. No, I haven't gone there and measured the,
unfortunately, the drawing does not give. So let's take a step back. This drawing, which is the survey,
that's the survey.
right, shows a flagstone patio, which is
Right.
semicircular.
Right.
And again, is that shape staying exactly the way it is?
Yes.
Okay. But unfortunately, there's no indication of the distance to the property line. So where did this 2.8 feet come from? Do we know,
I
William?
don't know.
was the plan examiner's report, I assume?
Yeah, we were discussing that today, where the 2.8 came from. It's
I mean,
obviously-
you know,
It's obviously more than 2.8.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's gotta be
Yeah, it's probably more like
10 feet.
10, 12 feet, yes.
Right, if that's 20. Yeah, I think that's this.
I think I'm gonna spend
But that's the next one, okay. Maybe it's 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's, you know, I really
see
hate
what there's-
working with misinformation. You all had to notice
Is
that
this the
before.
picture that would show what's adjacent, most adjacent to it?
I
This
can't,
house next door?
was that the drop?
No, it shows the circular patio,
Right.
and then like part of the yard, and it looks like the house next door, which would be, is that the next adjacent property?
Yes.
Is it?
That's affected by
The
the
house next
setback?
door is up, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see
so
that.
that might give you a sense. It looks
I see.
like more than 2 feet.
It's more than 2 feet, though.
So
Yeah,
this
I
is
think
interesting.
he's saying it's probably a type. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
The encroachment is 2'9"
Yeah.
or 2.8.
We can't GIS this now, to be sure? Lucas?
We could, kind of rough.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now we have a horrible estimate, so I'd take a rough one over that.
So it should be the opposite. It should be the opposite, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Well, it does. How accurate the 17 is either, but, okay. All right, so, other than that, are there any other particular questions? From the, what was the DPW's comments? Why don't we throw those
They
in?
commented that they have no comments.
Oh, that was,
The
not-
comment,
They sent us.
no, that's okay. That's
Everything.
okay.
Oh,
At least they responded.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I like those.
Let me just make, let me just double check. Yeah, no comments, because they said there does not appear to be any work outside the property line.
No.
Okay.
We got one letter of consent. The address for that,
9 Sturgis Road. It was from Corey Gish.
is that next door or like what is that address in relation to this property?
Maybe within the front of it.
Behind you, okay.
Mhm.
Like it's sort of immediately behind you or you're not sure?
I would say they're just within the circle.
Circular.
It's 500.
It's a cul-de-sac, so.
Yeah, it's another block.
Oh, the other block behind. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
The plan
in the
examiner.
meantime, is there anybody here from the public who wants to address this application? We do have somebody. Please come up, give us your name.
My name is Mark Hershey. I am the neighbor adjacent to 55. My number is 53 Oak Ledge Road. I've been a resident there for 27 years and one second, I get my glass. So I'd like to ask the board to consider whether there are alternatives to remediate this problem besides building a structure on that site. I can go into more detail, but that's basically the premise. And I find the difficulty in the sense of the idea of coming in and creating this big room for what is now a young little boy who's got a few years before he's going to outgrow it and be running around. And making a change to the code or to the standards should not be based upon someone's wish, you know, to have this, to have that. I'd like to have a lot of things and I don't get them. So I think that there should be a serious explanation as to why can't the little fence be put out around there that's not, maybe the current one is 2.5 feet. Maybe it needs to be 3 or 4 feet, I'm not a contractor, I don't know. Also, this is a large house on a very large piece of land. Not to digress, but because I've lived there so long and raised 4 children, my kids have played in that yard many, many times as, you know, for a decade. There were 2 families that lived next door during the time I was there, and nobody ever had a problem with safety or even raised it as a concern. And you know, it's not like they live there either. And please don't take offense to my comments. I'm just trying to make points that I think are germane to my perspective.
What's your address, sir?
53,
So you're to the, facing the house on the left or the right?
facing house on the left. My patio would overlook their patio,
Okay.
and it's adjacent. So I'd like to clarify a few things I know you have 5 different things that you look at to justify a variance. I'll try to go very quickly. It's called a rear patio. In a cul-de-sac, the rear is evasive. This patio is essentially adjacent to my property. If it's let's just say it appears that the wall that the patio is on is at the corner, it meets the front of the structure. That's called the side where I come from. The back is where they have a garage and a driveway and a door to their downstairs. They talk about a concrete patio. This is a cinder block patio. I have one. They're faced with a skim coat of concrete. So I don't know anything about the construction, about what's holding up the roof, but they should be standalone from that structure. And then the biggest egregious comment here to me is the patio is not seen from the street. Now, I've asked a number of people if they could agree with that, and nobody could. I have a picture. There are no pictures in what I received of the front, and yet the front is a major part of this process in terms of the look and the what you see. So, and then another thing is, it says here, what is another feasible alternative without a variance? Well, they say we're putting up a screen. They're putting up a screen, they're putting up what I call a fence. It's a polyester or polyurethane fence, and then it goes to screen, and then you have a roof. I assume it's out of wood and shingles they have. So it's not just a screen that they're putting up. And you say, well, are there any other means to accomplish this? A new fence. They talk about the property adding 2.3% in a usable space to the land. This is almost 300 square feet, which is 12% of their house. That's a pretty big addition to what they're doing. And to be honest, I went to the Architecture Review Board approval meeting, and there was nothing there I could relate to what they're currently proposing. And I don't know where I missed out, but that bothers me as well. Lastly, no environmental impact to the neighbors. I don't know what it would do to the value of my house because I don't have a real good sense of what it's going to look like, but I'm concerned. And I'm also concerned about the use of my patio. As you know, a closed-in three-season patio can make up a lot more noise. They have 2 large French doors that open into this patio. Those could be open all the time, especially one from the kitchen. It's a concern that this is going to be an encumbrance on our ability to function on our patio. And the last thing is the The grill is moved right next to the border, which is, you know, you turn that thing on and the wind blows and it's in my yard. And it doesn't happen that often, so it's not a big deal. It's just like, you know, aren't there better options, you know, for this project? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. This did go before the ARB?
Yeah.
And it was I'm asking if it went before the ARB, and it did.
It was
Yes.
approved, yes, by the
Okay,
ARB.
and can you tell us,
It's in the,
2020, it has to go back again.
March 24th, March 28th, 24th.
24th.
That's embedded on your plans is something different.
There's a paper in there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You are correct. Yeah, I'm sorry.
all right. Okay, so it went before the ARB. Can you just tell me from a visual standpoint, since that seems to be the neighbor's concern? So I think it's legitimate to ask a couple questions. How tall is the structure? How tall is it up to the roof line?
It of course slopes. Yeah. It goes to above the present door now. Wait a minute.
It goes above the
Oh,
current door?
there's a door. And we're gonna rise up. There's a roof that goes up. Let me see if I have a.
This is not where it's going to be. It's going to be.
No, it's gonna be up above
behind
that.
Behind,
Yeah.
Where are they? This is the building, where they 5 foot, wow, this is the back, this is from them, that's from them. So that, the patio is there, you know, for 5 foot wow. So the top of the roof would be maybe halfway between that roof line. and This roof.
Mr. Chair, can I have a look?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's the front. This goes up to here.
on the distance?
Yeah.
What do you get?
I think he was actually right, it's about 7, somewhere.
I don't know what.
All right, so that's,
So that's a very rough neat drawing, I'm not gonna do it, and it's a little grammar.
all right, well, makes a little more sense
Yeah.
than what we were looking at, so. Okay,
I'm wondering, well, can I?
so what materials are you using? I know this isn't totally our purview, but again, because
It's,
of
class-
Nick's concerns, I think.
Class A asphaltic shingles, and we went through the colors with the ARB. It's a screen walls, it's aluminum screen, and then below is a, I just remember now, it's a PVC crisscross. It shows on the
Yeah, I
drawing.
could see the.
Yeah, there's a
design.
blow up of it on there.
And will those screens be able to be replaced with glass?
No,
So no, it'll.
no, it's gonna be only for,
Okay.
It's literally screens.
oh, is that the,
Okay. All right.
that's the rendering.
That's a good to have.
Okay. So, let's talk about the area variance findings and decision. Is it appropriate, Nkechi, for me to just go over this now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Is the applicant submitting this as part of the
More
application?
helpful.
I think that's more helpful.
Just for your examination time. if you want.
I think this is more helpful.
Would you like it back? You seem like you like. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, as your neighbor pointed out, there are 5 things that we, as a board, look at to make a decision. So let's talk about them now. And basically, the test is no area variance will be granted without a consideration by the board of the following factors. And just so that you know, they don't necessarily require it to be full-blown yeses across the board. All right, so the first question is whether the undesirable change would be produced in character, would produce. Let me try that again. Whether undesirable change would be produced in character of neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. So I went to the property, I could not see the backyard.
I did as well.
So,
I couldn't see.
and I didn't want to walk through your yard, so I didn't. And, so to me, basically, when you go through the cul-de-sac, it's not going to change anything. Now, clearly, the neighbor would feel some change because where there wasn't a structure, there's going to be a structure. Does anybody think differently of that assessment?
No, it appears also there are a lot of trees. Are the trees still existing around in that area where the patio is? The shielding, okay.
Okay. Whether benefits sought by applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance. So, I mean, if your reason is strictly because of safety, and not because, oh, you want an area where you can go out and not get mosquito bit or stay out of the rain or do things like that, which you didn't say, but I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I think we need to know exactly what your reasons for putting this up are, if it's strictly for safety of your grandson or not.
And if I can add to that, were any other alternatives considered?
Okay, so once we get an answer to my first question, that will be the follow-up.
The main concern is we have a.
I'm sorry, can you?
Introduce yourself. Yes. Deborah Lynch, DEBRA. So our main concern is the safety of our grandkids. And no, they don't live at our house, but they're a 4-minute drive away, and the 3-year-old is at our house on a daily basis. And for those of you who have dealt with a 3-year-old, you know, this 4-foot-high fence, it's even if we put up a normal height fence, typical 3-year-old is always stepping up and looking over. Secondary, yes, it would certainly give us much more use of our patio due to mosquitoes. And also we could use it during, you know, inclement weather when it is raining. Primary for us is always the safety of our grandkids, but secondary would be being able to use the patio more.
And have you looked into putting up a different fence?
Only within the scope of this project.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we looked at, you know, what fence would we put in within the screened-in porch, not a standalone fence.
So my question is, in lieu of a screened-in porch, did you look into just putting a fence that would be safer for your grandchildren?
No, because I would have to probably, with the 3-year-old, put up a 5-foot-high fence. Because he is very active, and like I said, he's constantly climbing. So a normal height fence, something like this height, we constantly would be pushing and standing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a comment, question, or no? Okay. Whether the requested variance is substantial.
Do we know? Did we do it?
Well, no, yeah, he did. So it's likely those numbers are reversed. So it wasn't substantial before we clarified it, and it doesn't look to be so substantial as it first looked. So it would be a 14% variance, 2 point, whatever. Okay.
Do we need to confirm that?
Well, we'll use what?
I use like, you know, I used a Google Earth mapping tool and then just kind of cross-referenced it with where the property's borderline is supposed to be. So like, that's not binding in any way. That's a rough estimate of where I think it would be.
But it tracks with it.
I think it
being
tracks, yeah,
transposed.
generally,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And as it relates to the 20-foot distance they provided on the survey as well, it's probably roughly in that area.
Okay,
I think they just transposed the number.
Well,
so-
it seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
yeah.
And I can share the plan examiner report simply says, the enclosure of the patio has created a structural projection to the existing building. As this structural projection is within the 20 feet setback of the rear property line, a zoning board area variance is required. So all it says is it's within the 20-foot setback.
20 feet.
So they did not put a specific,
Right.
Okay.
It's along the line.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
along the line of thinking that the structure is existing, is already non-conforming, this just increases that degree of non-conformity using the existing setback that it already has.
Okay, would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
Mm,
I don't believe so.
No. Mm, so-
Okay, and 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. I think it was basically self-created. I mean, the applicant said it wasn't because the grandchild was not something they could really do anything about, so, but I think it's still self-created, but I don't see it to be a major issue.
I
Comments?
No, no, if I fully understand that question, but
It's the same footprint, so, I mean, in terms of self-created,
yeah.
just same footprint,
Same footprint, right?
yeah, so.
But it's structurally.
It's, yeah, structurally it's higher. But it's hidden with a lot of trees, so.
Yeah.
I don't want to show it up.
Okay. So, we asked if anybody in the audience wanted to speak about the application? Anybody want to speak about this application here tonight? Last chance. Anybody come online since no, okay. All right, so if there's no other questions by the board, somebody wants a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a
Seems
motion.
appropriate.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye, unanimous. And would somebody like to make a motion to deny or accept the application?
I make a motion, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
to approve the ZB 25-6.
Okay, I don't believe we had any conditions we spoke about, right? No.
no,
Okay, is there a second?
second,
All right, having a second on the motion, all in favor?
I,
Aye. So you are free to move forward with your project, and I hope you stay friendly neighbors.
Thank you.
Okay.
What is the next process? So you need to build a permit?
No, our work is done here. You would be going to the building department and presenting the plans and requesting permits. Excuse me.
That's how many I got back.
And we're keeping this as well.
I might have,
Or if you can just.
Maybe you
maybe
can
a
scan that and
copy.
email it
yeah, I could do that.
instead of taking the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maria. All right, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Stevens Avenue. Case ZB 25-7, 154 Stevens Avenue. section 165 dot 69 block 1082 lot 11 in the MB Neighborhood Business Zone regarding public notice. The board received proof of mailing September 3rd, 2025, proof of publication in the Journal News on September 2nd and September 3rd, 2025, and proof of initial sign posting for the application. The board has also received an affidavit of sign posting stating that on September 2nd, 2025, a sign was posted on the site giving notice of the zoning board September 16, 2025 meeting. The board also received photographs showing that the sign posting on the property has been updated, providing notice of today's meeting. The owner, HWB Homes LLC, is represented by his architect, Joseph Fernandez. And I'll ask right now, do we have the LLC operation agreement? Okay. The applicant is seeking to obtain an extension on an area variance for the proposed 2 parking spaces on site as part of the conversion of a basement and first floor space of the existing mixed-use building into a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom residential apartment unit, and the overall property into a 2-family residence. The subject property is 3,266 square feet. It is located on Stevens Avenue between North 6th Avenue and North 10th Avenue in the NB Neighborhood Business Zone. The area variance is off-site parking, 1 space. What's required is 1 space per dwelling unit, both of which should be in a garage per the requirements of the R2-4.5 zone. Proposed 2 outdoor spaces not located in a garage. Variance request 2 garage parking spaces. 100%. Variance request. The application has been sent to the fire department, police department, the water bureau, DPW, city engineers for comment. The application is not subject to referral to the Westchester County Planning Board. SECRA, the proposed use and area variance, is a type 2 action under SECRA based on 6 NY CRR C17, granting of an area variance for a single family, 2-family, and 3-family residence, therefore ending the SECRA process. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My
Mr.
name-
Fernandez?
My name is Joe Fernandez. I'm the architect for the project.
Okay.
I had been before this board last year when we originally looked for this, I'll call it a use variance to convert what was a doctor's office into a residence. And the application has not changed at all. The parking, which was depicted then, is depicted the same way now. We did not pick up the fact that we needed an enclosed garage, and it wasn't part of something that was stated to us when we got comments back from the building department. So we came in front of this board, unfortunately not prepared for that, and now we've basically built the project, and he's looking to get his CO to have someone finally take that apartment. And we can't do that without this board's blessing.
Okay. So that you said the apartments is built,
Yes.
and I did notice the driveway seemed to be some debris or construction stuff in the back of the driveway.
That's possible. I mean, they were working there, so they take things out as they go. And the back of the structure does have a rear stair, which makes it easy for them so they're not going through the front and the street and clogging up the front porch.
Okay.
Was there ever a garage on that property?
Never, never.
All right. Does anybody have any particular or specific questions?
So is the plan to actually allow the tenants to park on that driveway?
Yes. There's 2 spots in the rear, but it's very tight between the rear stair and the Metro North fence. So you really couldn't construct something there that would meet Mount Vernon standards. Now, the standards here in Mount Vernon are spots need to be 9 feet wide by 12 feet long. I've had a lot.
Driveway is not 9 feet wide, is
The
it?
driveway is 8 feet, but I'm just saying, in terms of the length, right, and the width, that's the space they want for each spot. Cars are smaller, so they will fit there. It's just a matter of the fact that there's no other space then for them to turn and things. So that's we left it open initially, and we think it's a great solution the way it is.
So how many cars could fit in the driveway now?
So,
Parking?
so they're not allowed to be tandem in the driveway, because if I'm home and then you
Mhm.
come after me and you go to
Mhm.
sleep and I need to go out. So there's 2 cars in the back, one for each unit,
Okay.
and that's what's required. So
Is this owner occupied, this building?
not, well, not as of yet, and the owner is a contractor, local contractor, and he may choose to put a family member in there, or, I don't know. He hasn't shared those plans.
All right, so the owner does not live there.
Currently, no. There is a tenant on the second floor who's been there for a long time.
Okay. And so it's a long, narrow driveway. How are the cars queuing and parking so that when both cars are in, the person that's on the outside doesn't have to move?
I have a board I brought with me, which is a partial on our application, but I mean, essentially they come in the driveway and to the property line, it says it's 10'8". Now, there's a fence there, there's a curb, so I think it might be a smidge smaller than that. And they come in and there's 2 spots here in the back. And essentially then they kind of have to kind of back out and then drive out.
So that's paved in the back?
It is
for
paved.
parking?
Yes, yes, sir. And that was always paved.
Okay.
I think when it was a doctor's office, that's where he must have parked in the back.
Okay. Is there anybody present who wants to address the board about this application? Anybody present who wants to address the board about the application? Will, I'm assuming we have not, wait, we got somebody? No? No. Oh, okay. You made me nervous. All right, so why don't we, does anybody else have any comments, or we just want to go over this area variance finding and decision sheet?
I think just go over the sheet, because it's an extension, right?
Say that again?
It's just an extension of what we've,
No, it's a public.
It's a,
No, this is new because
New.
when it first came to us,
Mhm.
the building department did not notice that they should have looked for a variance for
got it. Okay.
off-street parking.
Got it. That was an extension. Okay.
Okay, whether the undesirable change would be this is not written right, and I gotta change it because I can't read it. Would be produced in character of neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. So since the cars would be in the driveway or in the back, I would believe that that would not change the character at all. Does anybody feel differently?
Agreed.
Is everyone awake?
I mean, I think realistically, maybe one would go in the back. I mean, the turn area is, it's like gonna be hard to get out of there, but one would go on the street, so in reality,
Right, who knows what happens once,
the real
but
world.
as long as the spaces are, there would be a problem, in my opinion, if there was no way to put the cars in the back and then come out. single. Right, now, they may not do that, and who knows, but because we've had that issue before, right, where there's
Yes.
required parking and
Yeah, I think the
you have to play
maneuvering of
musical cars.
coming in and going out, and one would have to wait until the other one. So,
Yeah.
but it's doable.
But right, as long as you have the turning radius, you should be
Mhm.
fine,
Yeah.
unless we're coming in together or leaving together.
Well, I don't think there's any turning, there's backing out on this one.
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're just making a series of broken Us in order to get out.
Yeah,
Which was on your driving test
Well,
when
even if-
when you got your license.
Even if you didn't like go in the back and you just pulled in, you'd have to back out of the driveway. Most people back out of their driveways, right?
Right.
So, just happens to be a busier street, but let's hope it's not a problem.
should he put up mirrors or something? Because it is such a busy street.
I don't know where you would put it. Because you really need to see traffic coming both ways. There's cars parked on the street. Number two, whether benefits sought by applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance. That would be build a garage, right?
Yeah.
Since it's behind the house, I'm not sure what benefit that would have relative to cost and.
I don't think he has the space for
and-
that. And adding on to that, were any alternatives considered?
Did the owner consider building a garage?
So he did not consider building a garage because of proximity to the house and to Metro North, which is a whole nother can of worms.
Right.
That retaining wall that's there is right on top of the train.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I
Whether
guess,
the,
I guess it was considered, but not feasible.
Right.
Sounds like it.
whether requested variance is substantial? I don't believe so, right?
Right.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood?
I'm sorry,
I
can
don't
we,
believe so.
I'm sorry, can we backtrack?
What
Any
do you-
any language regarding why it's not considered substantial?
So what's your question? Why it's not considered
Yes.
an impact on the physical?
No, no,
environmental con-
substantial.
The third factor,
Whether the requested variance is substantial.
and it sounded like no.
Well,
Can we-
I just, again, so it's 100%, right? So one could say, oh, that's substantial. But it's one of those variances that exists all over Mount Vernon because there are not a lot of garages and some of the garages are under the house and impractical to get into. And it's not unusual for people to park their cars out of the garage in the driveway. So I know that's not what the code says, but that's why I don't think it's substantial.
You're gonna catch you. As an attorney, I have a problem with that, this question. Because it's not substantial, because it's open-ended. And it's not like we define what substantial is we don't
Right.
define and measure substantial. So it's it's subject to anyone's interpretation because you don't define
I
it.
mean, substantial is like the percent of variance requested. So 100% sounds like
No, it's-
very substantial.
Right, it sounds like it would be, but but it's undefined. Just as an attorney, this is a very bad question.
It gives you the leeway. There's no right or wrong, as long as you justify it.
It's
I
too
can draft
open-ended.
it.
It's very
Yes.
open-ended.
So what did you think of our justification?
It would be helpful if other members would also like to share their thoughts. Commissioner Pinnock,
Say- Each one of us could have our own respective opinions. That's
Exactly. Yes, yeah.
That's the
And-
problem I have.
And we welcome that, actually.
I mean, to our chair's point, it says 100%, it would be substantial, but I don't necessarily view it as such. If I'm just thinking from a observational standpoint, I don't feel that it is substantial. It's going to impede or block or do any of those things that I think of when I think of the word substantial.
The mitigating factor is the driveway, and the parking area in the back reduces the actual impact of perceived variance.
That was exactly what I was. Absolutely. I agree with that. Thank you.
Are you checking to see that we're all awake in the kitchen? All right. Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental condition in the neighborhood? I think we've already said
Said
no
no.
to that, correct? And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. I think whenever there's a variance requested, they're generally self-created,
Self-created.
but they're
So I
not.
never understand that question.
Well,
But I would disagree only because it was zoned something else initially, right? And then it was given the ability to change into morphed into something else, which at that time the building department, nor this board, nor I had realized that we needed a structure. And that made no change on the change of the use. So inherently, I mean, I kind of feel like last year was kind of like blessed already. Like, hey, we had this parking here, we changed the use, and that was all agreed to. So
Well, but the use, again, we don't need to belabor this, but the use was granted without knowing that this was required. The use may not have been granted had all that information been given to this board at that time. So,
okay,
you know, I don't think
Fair.
you could,
okay.
you know, one way or the other say, oh, you know, you guys already approved it, so. All right, so anyway, I think we've gone through that and answered those questions correctly. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
On the question? Any questions? And somebody want to make, on the motion to close the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then does somebody want to make a motion to accept or reject the application?
Make a motion to accept the application for case number ZB 25-7, 154 Stevens Avenue.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, we're gonna take a 3-minute break.
Thank
I
you.
just need a glass of water.
Mhm.
I know you didn't. Sorry.
Has it, no?
Should have known better.
We don't have water today.
We don't have the money.
Oh, yeah. Lucas
Mr.
stopped
Chair.
buying it. He was financing our.
Is there water fountain? There's water
Where is
in the, in the house.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah. Wow, it's come to that.
I always, because sometimes they don't. Maria, aren't you thirsty? I am, but it also means that you're going back.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it. Right, right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we so. Yeah, I never got the last question. It seems so like.
Which, the last one or the third one?
The last one.
Okay.
Whether the investor is created, if you're coming here seeking a variance, you are by definition creating.
Sometimes you inherit.
Stuff.
Most of the time, you inherit or you purchase something not realizing that, oh my God.
I need to do this now. I didn't think about it 10 years ago.
Maybe that, but every time I think of, well, I'm here. Whatever the thing is.
Yeah, yeah, well,
But that's gonna be a nice one.
yeah, yeah, they have a beautiful property, yeah.
Did you
But
go
the
by
neighbor,
there?
I didn't go.
It's beautiful. I think it's a cul-de-sac where you really can't see anything now. From the back.
So you felt like because you couldn't see it in the
You can't
front,
see-
then it
you
wouldn't
can't
be
see
such a big
nothing.
issue, yeah, yeah.
I drove it out. I lived very close.
I figured it was in the back and I couldn't walk on the property. so I
Yes,
didn't
no,
go.
it's not.
I did go to Terrace Avenue, however. Crazy. but, yeah, I wanted to see that. So I went from there, then I went to Stevens and then Millington, yeah, so I never made it to the Bronxville side. Yep, yep,
This one's gonna be.
yep. Were you here for the original? Yeah. When did you go?
I drove by there yesterday.
Oh, I left your question the other day. Friday evening, how was it? When was it? Yeah, but, so,
I made it promise.
I don't know, it's maybe. Oh, yeah, me too. I'm like, yeah, like in the middle of the day, too. Yeah, like we took this. Okay, well, it's Friday. This is that's a space that goes into stairs. That's about it. And this is. But nobody can fit over. In front of this lady. That's the way this. Yeah. Yeah, but I think you can't really touch this. It's too narrow and it's just- but that's the
All right.
I think a long story.
Thank you for your patience. Continued public hearing, item number 4.1, case number ZB 24-16, 127 South Terrace Avenue, section 164.84, blocks 1061, lot 17 in the CB Commercial Business Zone. The board previously received proof of mailing and proof of initial sign posting for the application. The board received proof of publication in the Journal News on August 29th and September 2nd, 2025. The board has also received an affidavit of sign posting stating that on August 13, 2025, a sign was posted at the site giving notice of the zoning board's September 16, 2025 meeting. The board also received photographs showing that the sign posting on the property has been updated, providing notice of today's meeting. The owner, John Ruggiero, is represented by his architect, Fahim Badali. Application is seeking to obtain area variance for the conversion of an existing commercial building to a marijuana dispensary. The subject property is 9,450 square feet, is located on South Terrace Avenue between South Street and Grove Street, located in the I industrial zone near South McQuestion Parkway. The area variance is requested. Location proximity to house of worship, more than required is more than 500 feet. The proposed is 445 feet. Variance of 55 feet or 11%. Location of signage proximity to playground, more than 500 feet is required. Proposed 270 feet, 230 feet or 46% variance requested. Parking, 10 spaces, proposed 9, 0 loading. The requested variance is 1 space, 10%, 1 loading space, 100%. The application has been sent to the Fire Department, Police Department, Water Bureau, DPW, City Engineer for comments. The application is not subject to referral to the Westchester County Planning Board. Secret, the proposed action formally required a use variance in the earlier incarnation of the application and was classified as an unlisted action secret under secret. The Zoning Board of Appeals declared lead agency on the application at its September 19th, 2023 meeting. At its November 20th, 2023 meeting, the zoning board referred the application to the city council for a zoning text amendment. On January 24th, 2024, the city council adopted a negative declaration regarding its uncoordinated review of the unlisted action and enacted local law number 1-2024, a local law to amend chapter 267 of zoning of the code of the city of Mount Vernon to regulate cannabis retail dispensaries and consumption sites. In light of this code revision, the purposes of the zoning board, the proposed action is a type 2 action under SECRA based on 6 NY CRR C18, reuse of a residential or commercial structure or of a structure containing mixed residential and commercial uses, whether the residential or commercial use is a permitted use under the application, the applicable zoning law or ordinance, including permitted by special use permit, and the action does not meet or exceed any of the thresholds in section 617-4 of this part, therefore ending the secret process. So, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I know you're not Mr. Badali, but.
Yeah, no worries.
So give me your name again, if you could.
My name is Kevin Munene.
Kevin.
Munene, M as in Mercy, U, and as in Nancy, E, and as in Nancy, E. Yeah, so as stated, we have appeared before the board previously, and I believe like 5 days ago, we did receive a few additional comments regarding the curb cut similar to our previous application. We will address those comments on the resubmission if there, if we get approval from the board, or even if the case we do not, we still will issue some revisions. We are requesting the variances that you stated for the area variance for the distances between the property and those place of worship and the playground, and also parking spaces. With the matter of parking spaces, initially the calculations, or at least the analysis that we did for the parking, was based on the retail use on the first floor, which only requires 8 parking spaces, and 10 parking spaces were provided. But the review from the building department suggested that on the second floor, we need to include the parking spaces for that area, even though it's primarily to be used as a storage, which there's no employees in the storage, it's just a storage space for us. So we did include that in our analysis, which led up to us requiring 10 parking spaces or 11, and we provided, no, 10, and we're providing 9, yes. So we exceeded the requirement by 1 parking space, about 10% of the requirement. So we are seeking that as well. And I'm here to answer any questions that the board might have and address any issues and concerns.
Okay, so let's talk about parking, since it's probably the biggest concern of this board. So initially, when this application was brought to the Zoning Board of Appeals back in 23, whatever it was, Mr. Badali suggested that it required 30 spaces. Can you explain how you went from 30 to 10?
I believe it's because of the use. I do not have the initial analysis that we did and see what it was based off, but I think we had assumed a different use definition from what the marijuana dispensary can be classified as, like in terms of business or retail. So I think that's where the discrepancy came from. I do not have the actual calculations, but I can find that for you and clearly answer the
Okay.
question.
I mean, I think some of the explanation that we got was not from Mr. Badali or you, but that there's a state requirement for parking, and then there's a city ordinance for parking. And and Lucas, correct me if I'm wrong, the building department took the path of the city by not measuring everything, correct? As the
Right.
state would.
Right, so the planning examiner applied the city standard, which is how she came up with the numbers.
And can I add that the recently adopted cannabis legislation does have a section 26788 parking, which says dispensaries shall comply with the City of Mount Vernon off-street parking and loading space requirements for retail stores, shops, and personal service establishments as set forth in attachment 3 of this chapter. So the cannabis legislation does say to use the chart listed in the city's ordinance.
So what is section 3 or attachment 3 state? Because I don't think I've seen that.
So for retail spaces, do you want to answer?
Right, that was in the email I sent
Okay.
earlier today.
I have it up.
So before we go down that road just yet, what's that?
Do they have, I'm sure they got the permit from the state.
To operate? Yeah, they have it.
I'm sorry, I still did not hear you.
No, my question was, I'm sure they have the permit from the state.
Well, no, I don't believe, well, they do, it expires in December. No, I shouldn't say that. Right? We determined that that we issued a license in December of 23 and it expires in December of 25.
Right, so, right, the license, right, was, effective date of the license was December 4th, 2023. The license expires December 4th, 2025.
Okay. So let me ask you, because beyond what section 3 states or attachment 3 states, there's a separate building on the property. They're selling cannabis out of the main building. And there's a separate building. Do you know what that building, what
It's,
business is being done in that building?
it's storage as well, from what I believe.
No use.
Yeah, storage.
Well, that's not what my eyes told me when I went to buy the site. There was body work being done in that facility.
What?
Body work. Auto body,
Auto body.
auto body. work.
Was it conducted within the parking?
No, well, in that building and then cars outside of it, cars inside of it. So, did you stop doing that or?
I went by there yesterday.
And how long was it used before that? As? Well, that's not really true, is it? So it was never used for auto body? Okay.
This is which I also operate towing meetings in the city of Mount Vernon. We would require that place to place it. I own the property, but I have to space it, chose to use it. It's paid for.
Yeah, but you have
was
a
more storage.
business, right, that requires a certain amount of spots. And you're taking up those spots with other things. Okay, all right, we'll be the judge of that. Okay. So just, you can get up and give us your name and then you can, if you want to address the board.
John Ruggiero, I'm the owner and operator of 127 South Terrace Avenue. So the laws that the city created were created after they gave me the permission to open and the store was open. So the laws in the beginning, I mean, they came up with these cannabis laws for the 500 feet from a school in a circumference, the state put the laws as door to door. If you walk down the block, make a right and get to the park, that's what the state came up with. The city had no laws in place at the time. I submitted a letter to the city from the Office of Cannabis Management. If there was any objections, they had 30 days to respond. Nobody responded to anything. So we went with the city not having laws in place. They gave me the okay to open, and then they created laws on this distance part from 500 feet in a circumference, building to building, which.
So there are 3 variances and you're bringing up the other ones, which, you're looking for area variances. We understand that. They don't appear to be as substantial as the requirements for parking. So that's why I'd rather really kind of discuss that a little bit more than the other items. And let me say that, I mean, there's no prejudice on this board that a cannabis operation should not exist there.
I understand that, but I mean, going back and forth, I've been to these meetings numerous times. Each time I have to pay, obviously. I mean, you guys know, back and forth. I mean, I am being penalized for it because there's people that create news stories that saying that the city doesn't approve it, back and forth, and it has affected my business. This business has brought nothing but tax revenue to the city of Mount Vernon, probably more than the whole street that it's on. I mean, this cannabis business directs 4% of its sales directly to the city of Mount Vernon. So in the last year, we've raised $1 million for the city. Plus, I own other businesses in Mount Vernon. I work in Mount Vernon every day. I own property in Mount Vernon. I pay over $300,000 to $400,000 a year in property taxes, and I'm being penalized for something that I was told was okay. Everything's okay, and everything just keeps dragging on. I keep coming to these meetings back and forth, and I don't think this is correct.
Well, listen, I guess there's really more ways to look at the situation. And I don't really want to get into a back and forth with you because this board is not here to penalize you. This board is here to look at what the facts are and make a decision for your requests in the best interest of both you and the city. I mean, there have been some crazy things that have happened between the start, and you came before this board. I was the chair at the time.
All out of my hands.
And I said that this board should not be looking at it because the city's in the process of trying to come up with an ordinance for cannabis sales. And we punted it over to the city council, and they made a decision, and you were able to start operating. But there were things that were still missed, unfortunately, along the way. And you know, that is unfortunate. So we just need to, you know, and one of the biggest concerns, quite honestly, for me as just a member of this board is the parking situation, because, you know, that street is narrow, there's
I mean,
cars.
we have been operational for 2 years and haven't had one issue with parking. I mean, as a fact, I actually do towing for the city of Mount Vernon, and I've sent into the business department multiple videos. The rest of the street, who doesn't help Mount Vernon at all, there's 20, 30 cars on the street with unregistered license plate, no license plates on the cars. They don't do anything about that. I have my own parking lot, which I never had a backup. I never had a customer have to park on the street. I mean, there hasn't been an issue with parking in 2 years. It's an operating business. It's not something that's, I mean, I'm sure you guys have not got one complaint about parking, or besides the public, which we'll hear from shortly. But I don't know if there's any problems actually with parking. And we're one spot off. And I'm pretty sure if we could design it to make it 10 spots, if it's that big of an issue. If I have to knock down that little building on there, whatever I have to do, I mean.
Well, if you recall, when you first came before the zoning board, we discussed parking, and
Yeah,
your
my
comments
original-
were, I'm going to do what I can to find some other property on the block and use it as a parking lot to meet, because at the time, the application,
Which I do. I
The-
do occupy other spots on the street.
which the application stated you needed 30 parking spaces. So
Yeah,
now,
that was a misunderstanding. I mean,
well, I don't know. That's a matter of, maybe it's not a misunderstanding, you
Okay.
know? So that's what, you know, that's what I'm really not totally comfortable with, quite honestly, because I don't know how we go from 30 to 10, and based on the fact that it's retail and there's, you know, that the state says you should be counting upstairs, and that you do have another building where you're saying is storage, but there's been multiple sightings that it's not really just that. So,
multiple accusations, not multiple, you know, that place is vacant. I could take everybody there now. It's been vacant. There's cameras on it. I mean, the place is not used for auto body.
where do you do your auto body work? Because aren't you in the auto body business?
I've been towing.
Okay. So you don't own an
Don't-
auto
I
body
do not do auto body,
facility?
towing.
Okay.
For the
And
city,
you own other property, or you lease other property?
I
on
do
the
own
block?
other properties, but
Okay.
I don't want to make that public information, at this meeting.
And so when we originally met, we talked about, you know, the feasibility of leasing or using other property.
I was renting across the street, and now they're putting up that building right there. So
Right.
property is now sold, but I do occupy 158 South Terrace, and I do occupy 133 South Terrace, which is the adjacent building, which I do park my personal car in there, and I haven't had any issues with parking or complaints from actual people who are affected, if they were.
Okay. Okay.
I do have more thing, you know, I would like to, if you could let the other public speak, just so we could hear everyone's side of it. And,
Okay.
get back to it if we could.
All right. So, can you comment on I mean, there's a few things. Do you currently have certificate of tenant-
Temporary certificate of occupancy that's been renewed 3 to 4 times, each time I have to pay.
So we don't see that in the records.
I mean, I could pull it up on my phone. I mean, I could pull up also all the times I've been back and forth to board.
Because you know, there was an inspection by the building department, and I guess some things were remedied, but then the fire department came and there were things that that we're being told is still not remedied. And therefore the certificate of tenancy has not been issued. So
I believe everything.
one of us has misinformation.
Certificate of tenancy or occupancy?
Same thing. pretty-
Because there's one.
There is one.
It's expired.
Yeah, there's one here.
Where?
Yeah, in the file.
What's the date on this?
I believe it expires at the end of this month.
Okay.
I looked at that.
Yeah.
Certificate of tenancy.
Okay.
It's here.
You have it now, because I saw it. I was looking.
What was sent to us originally was expired certificate. That's what was sent to us. And And I've been asking for an update and I have not got one. So you have something that I am totally unaware of. And that doesn't make me feel good at all, quite honestly, right now. So can I see what you have, please?
This was a certificate of tenancy extension. They extended it because it had expired. And then this one expired August. This one expired, the inspection date was September 5th. And
No, see, not that. That one did pass.
this one didn't. I could swear it's down.
One of them didn't pass.
You don't want to. This one was something. Because I said you saw this from.
So August 27, 2025, certificate of tenancy
No,
application,
it just has the issue
CC-107,
there.
Shaheen Badali, overall result fail. Inspection report, certificate of tenancy extension building, September 5th. Overall pass. And then where's the one from the fire department? Shaheen Badali, fire alarm.
This one is recommended
Fail.
extension, but it doesn't grant it.
So
I think that's probably. what
if
was
I'm
from September.
not correct, please correct me, Lucas. That the building department inspection passed, but the fire department failed and those have not been remedied yet. Is that correct?
That's my understanding from looking at the workflow in the Open Gov system. That there was a temporary conditional certificate of occupancy issued March 4th. This is just what I see in the file. And then that expires 60 days later. And then there was another application filed, another fee paid for an extension of the certificate of tenancy. So that was paid on June 13th, which then triggered inspection. And so there were two inspections that got triggered. One was building department that passed, and then the one, I mean, they're both still marked in progress.
Okay.
On our system. But the building department side,
I know that feeling.
one of the reports was a pass report.
Can I assist on that? I think.
1 second. All right, so that's pretty much what.
Yeah, I mean, that's my understanding of reading this file.
Okay,
That's-
all right, I
do not speak for the building department necessarily, I'm reading, but I.
Right, but there's nothing there that says there's a current certificate of, it's still in progress, right?
Yeah, it just shows in progress.
Okay, all right. So yes, you wanted to say something.
I just, the fire department, they wanted, strobe lights installed on the second floor, which the second floor is not used for the business on the first floor, but I still was getting it done and I provided them with the receipt from, the company who's installing them. So that's what was the holdup with the fire department.
So, but you understand it's difficult for us to sit here with some internal documents that say or don't say one thing. And then you stand up here and say, I'm taking care of it, or I took care of it, I have a receipt. That really, if that's the case, that's great, but we can't accept that as being what it is. I'm sorry.
I understand. I wasn't,
Because we don't really know. We're sitting here, we're not involved in this on a daily basis, and
I know, but see, by you guys, I'm the one who's suffering from it.
listen, we don't want you to be suffering, right? We want your business to thrive and we want your business to comply with the codes of the city and not be a detriment to health and welfare of anybody in and around the area. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Understood.
The city said you could, they wrote an ordinance for cannabis. You're in a spot that's not near a bunch of houses. People, you're not like really near a school or anything. Yes, there's a playground, but it's around the block. There's a house of worship, but it's close to 500 feet away. Are
Not a
those
legal
things the end
search.
of the world? Personally, I don't think so, but I do have an issue. I have an issue with the parking, but I also have an issue with the whole process that I am aware of from the start. That I just start getting, I get a little not suspicious of you, not suspicious of anyone in particular, but just, I don't know what to believe anymore. And so,
It's been a crazy rodeo. The
yeah,
first
I
time,
mean, and
I never dealt with such a thing like this in my life. I mean, I've also operated and opened another 2 of these stores in the meantime, and I haven't had no issues like this. But unfortunately, the city chooses to let, people who want to penalize the city also, make a situation out of something that's really nothing. I mean, I just wanted to get it on record because I haven't had a chance to actually explain this to you guys, but I mean, it's not right what's going on here.
well, if you watch our meetings, you'll see that a lot of things happen that shouldn't have happened, and that they're not only the applicant's problem or fault. They happen because of, things don't get processed properly, and that's not fair to you. It's not fair to anyone who confronts that. I can't really fix it.
It's not
but
fair to the city, to be honest, but let's,
All right.
I'll let you guys go back on and let the public speak.
I know that there was a session on August 27th,
Yes.
and you had until September 5th to correct all the failures. Was that
I
correct?
corrected, yes, I corrected everything on there. I was like, they wanted to end the 25 inspection for the fire sprinklers. They wanted some holes patched. They wanted electrical box covered. That was corrected the next day.
Okay. So can you comment at all on Mr. Badali's letter from May of 2020? What was that, May 2024?
I have no comment on it.
So you're here to represent Mr. Badali. Maybe you can comment on it.
That was an internal issue that personally I was told to refrain from commenting on that, so I would have no comment on that. But it was an internal matter between client and
So you just rather have no comment instead of addressing our concern or my concern that
I
the
am
letter was written?
right. So
Okay.
it was not, it was above my
His pay grade.
I know. but
yeah, so I
Mr.
can't really
Badali's not here. So
yeah, I
you're-
can't.
You're representing him. I just was hoping that
right.
you obviously have some knowledge of it, but we're told not to comment, so, right?
Well, I don't have full knowledge of it, so I can't really informatively tell you what the resolution was or what the issue was. So I can't, I don't want to say anything that is
Okay, Mr.
misinformed.
Chairman, did you want to comment?
Off the record. We'll do that.
It's hard to do here off the record.
I know it's hard to do, but I mean, it's hard for me to.
No, so don't comment.
I'm
If
not gonna
if you
have-
want it off the record, I would suggest you don't say.
it'll be on
because
the
it will
record.
be on the record, and if you don't want it on the record.
Yeah.
All
it'll
right,
be
it's
on the
my
record.
advice to you. That's all. No, that's fine. I appreciate it. Okay. And then another situation, right? The letter comes to us from the planning department that, it's got to go to the ZBA. It took months. It took almost a year to get to this point where we have a meeting. Now, I know we didn't meet last month, but there's a notice that's put out by your representative, the Shaheen Badali organization, that says 127 South Fulton Avenue. I mean, it's kind of sloppy. No, I know it's not you. You're the one who's paying the bill for all this. But we can only go on what we see. And when we see all those things, it makes us ask a lot more questions. It makes me ask a lot more questions than if, things were with, oh yeah, no, that was a little, okay, no big deal, whatever. So anyway. All right, I'm going to stop talking. Does anybody else on the board want to say anything before we ask the public? A comment?
I mean, so to me, it seems like the real issue that we're discussing is really the parking, because seems like the other two issues do not rise to the level of being substantial at all. So,
Yeah, I agree.
okay.
So in terms of the parking, the space that is going into the stairs, is that what's making this 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like only like a motorcycle could go in there or something like that. But it's
So-
against the law to have, it's demarcated as if it's a parking space, but it's going into stairs.
Yeah, that would be,
That would be correct.
yes.
Okay. And that's what's making it 9 spaces.
No, no,
Would,
the requirement is
Counted
8.
that, no? Or
I
they-
believe the requirement is 8 for the occupancy on the first floor. The requirement for parking is 8 spots. We have 9. So if you eliminated that spot, it would be 8 spots.
What do you plan to do with the second floor of that building?
I don't do anything with it.
Storage.
I have no
Do you-
plans.
Do you plan,
storage.
do you have plans for it to do, as
Do
a
I-
business use?
No, there's no business use.
It's just storage.
Storage.
The storage.
Retail spaces need storage, so.
And there's no offices up there, right?
There is offices up there.
There are offices
I
up
mean,
there?
that's the way I bought the building. I had offices up there.
Uh-huh. And so how many people occupy the offices upstairs?
Nobody occupies upstairs.
So there's offices, but they're not occupied?
No, it's just rooms. I mean, not actual offices. I mean, it could be used as office if you put a computer there, but it's just storage rooms. I mean, it's not a,
Oh. It's not being leased or used as office space. It's just space. Got it. Okay.
So, again, I'm going to, I have to say this. I mean, so you build this building, you set up this beautiful retail section on the bottom floor, and your intent is to store things up on the second floor. Why would you spend money to make offices that you're not going to use?
I didn't make any offices. The way it came is the way it was upstairs on the second floor. First floor, I just opened
So
it.
you renovated the building, but did not renovate the second floor?
I didn't really renovate the building. There's not much renovation. I painted it, did the parking lot. I mean, not much structural renovation that was performed.
Interior renovation.
Basic,
Well, how many events do you hold?
we had one event or 2 events in the 2-year period.
So what are your plans around events? Are they successful or is it something you want to continue and develop?
I mean, we try to drive traffic to the city of Mount Vernon, but we're gonna let off the events because we don't want to have any upcoming issues.
Would you hold events on the second floor?
No. No events. We're not even allowed to, by the state, have cannabis events.
Mhm.
So our marketing team had, they search for things to do, but they're not allowed to, so. We're not allowed to have events. We want to have events.
So when you had this event,
It wasn't a cannabis event? What type of event was it?
Which one, the cars?
yeah, I guess it's
This car show.
It's a car show.
just a car show.
Then we did a cannabis event, companies displaying products outside.
I mean, again, we're not naive. I mean, and I understand the business, right? So when people do things like this, they don't do it out of the kindness of the heart because they like cars. And I'm sure you like cars since.
I do it to drive traffic to the
But
to the
it drives
business.
traffic to there, and then you have food trucks and things and all that, and I'm not saying don't do it, but please be genuine with us when you answer questions, because again, it just makes things harder and harder to accept any answer you give us. When
I
you
understand.
tell me I have that, I did that, it's already, I don't know what to believe anymore. So, okay.
If I can just further that point, we did have a discussion with the client with regards to the notice that the board gave in terms of events, and he's open to not doing any more events in the case that the board would prefer that that's the case. So that's something he's open to,
So
even though
those
he has done.
conversations were internal between,
Yeah, because we did have that notification of those events. I believe it was via email or some sort of written record that we got and had a discussion in the office.
So I'm missing I'm sorry. So maybe I'm missing something. So this is zone commercial. So why can't he have events? I'm confused.
Well,
Parking.
because it's the parking issue. It all comes back to this parking issue, right? So
Okay.
you have an event like this,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've got these cars. Is he putting them in his lot where he's open for business?
Okay.
And now he's having a car event and the parking is supposed to be for his retail business.
Okay.
Where is he parking the cars? I don't know. If he had another lot where he was parking cars and then having the event, they have food trucks. The food trucks are, I don't remember whether they were behind the fence or in front of the fence, but they were taking up space. So that's why. And again, I don't have a problem with the events. If I have a problem with the parking and the fact that, you're in a box there that it's making it difficult for you to kind of do the things that you want to do. And, it just seems like all we're trying to do, all that is trying to be done is justify things that should have been addressed.
But I'm being devil's advocate here. So,
It's fine.
so the event, okay, one event a year. I get it. So he's not having events on a routine basis. So
But we don't know that. I mean, if you have a business, you can do marketing and have events however often you feel it helps your business.
well,
And that would impact the parking.
right, I understand that, but I'm saying based on what he has told us here today, he's had it 2 years, he's had one event a year. So then it doesn't seem to be major events happening on a routine basis. So I get that. So for me, the issue is his daily uses of like the regular standard run-of-the-mill business, 9 to 5 or whatever times you have it open. How is parking impacted that way? Like I'm gonna move the events off the table because that's
Or
not.
we can condition it,
Yeah,
around events.
that's to me, that's a one-off. I'm not gonna spend an hour talking about an events he's had 2 in 2 years. So let's just talk about his regular parking for the average everyday person that comes in and
Okay.
wants to buy his thing.
That's fair.
Let's stick it at that.
Not 8 to 10 PM.
8 to 10? Yeah, I think there were plenty of parking when I drove yesterday.
There's never been an issue with parking. We never have more than 3 to 4 customers at the max in the store.
2 cars plus my car, and I sat there for.
And you didn't come inside? You didn't come inside?
What's a typical transaction length?
2 minutes. Some people already order online and they come in and they're out of the store in a minute,
Mhm.
And again, it's operated for 2 years and we have not had no cars bump in the parking lot, nothing, no issues at all.
If I could offer a professional
Please.
evaluation. So, this is, cannabis dispensaries, because I worked for the county, before I worked here. I worked there for, over 20 years. And, so as these, dispensaries kind of got proposed throughout Westchester County, I saw all the proposals and whatnot. And during that time, what I kind of noticed was that nobody really knew what the, parking impacts would be for these businesses. So then kind of the knee-jerk reaction was just to apply the standard retail parking ratio. But a retail parking ratio really kind of takes into account that someone might go into a store, look at the shelves, put things into a basket, wait in line, pay, take the package back out to the cart and drive away. What we're finding with many of these cannabis dispensaries is that some of them don't have any showrooms at all. I think yours does have like a display area, right? But there are some elsewhere in the state that it's just like you go into a room with nothing, and then there's a tablet or something, and you type in, or you just verbally speak to the representative, and then within a minute or two, the product comes out, you pay, and then you leave. So the amount of time that a particular customer might spend in a dispensary is much, much, much shorter. It's almost the same as like, it's almost quicker than going to a convenience store in a lot of ways. So I'm wondering if, as these dispensaries kind of become more prevalent in New York State, if municipalities will start considering using a different parking ratio for these uses. It remains to be seen, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that it's a lot of just,
In
there's
and
been a
out.
lot of guesswork with these regulations.
And again, there was no regulations when I
begin
started
with.
from the city. So, I mean, what was I supposed to do? I can't, and I'm trying to adapt with the laws that they created after the fact that they let me open, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's one spot we're arguing over, and I think it's a lot for the one spot.
Curious how the city does it.
Okay. So this spot number 7 in front of the steps, we say is not really functional.
Right.
It does function, that spot. I mean, it doesn't block the door and doesn't really,
It looks like there's room to walk around it.
we park a car in there, we tested it. I mean, it's been there for 2 years, that spot.
All right. And how do you get your deliveries?
Excuse me?
How do you get your deliveries?
I mean, they just pull in and bring the box in.
Is
and-
it like UPS?
No, it's regular size little cars. It's not no UPS or FedEx does not deliver cannabis.
During closing, after you're closed,
It's most of the time in the morning,
Mornings.
before you're,
before or while we're open. No, everybody has a different delivery time. They try to change and make it different times each time.
So when they unload the product, is it going in through that metal garage door type of thing?
No, the product goes in through the front door or the door to the right.
So the sort of loading area garage, what is that used for?
It's not used for anything. I mean, I was storing a vehicle in there. It's on the property. I mean, I figured if it's my property, I could make use of the garage, storing a vehicle, storing the delivery cars inside, keeping them inside at nighttime. I thought I would be able to, but obviously the city is not allowing that, so we just made the parking spaces in the front and keep it vacant. I don't need the garage.
Okay.
Do you make deliveries or is that part of your business?
Yes, we do the delivery.
Okay. Let's hear from the public. I know that there was will any of the city agencies submit?
Yes, we have two comment memos the first is from the water department. They just said that they're waiting on backflow approval. Everything else is fine. What they wrote. And then the Department of Public Works made a comment. Well, they noted that the curb cut requires city council approval. And then they say, please clarify, let me zoom in on this. Okay, please clarify, 1, is new curb cut only at proposed curb cut? 2, why is metal curb being proposed when the existing curb material is granite? And then 3, provide detailed, accurate construction section through new lowered curb, apron, and sidewalk areas showing compacted, tamped, subgrade, crushed stone base, 6x6 or 8x8, and all pertinent components, etc. And he marked up the plan. I can
Yeah.
forward. Or you may
I
have
do,
seen
I
it
do have
already.
it. That's what I was referring to in terms of.
So
the-
yeah, that's right. You addressed it earlier.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
we'll make those changes.
Right, and then there was written public comments that came in also.
Yes, so there was, this just the one from Mr. Ferrandino?
There was one more that came in just before the meeting started. Let me grab it. I'll just read up my. Yes, this came from David Wright,
Okay.
112 Ridgeway. Shall I read it or?
Yeah, why don't you read it into the
Okay.
record?
I am commenting as a citizen and taxpayer in Mount Vernon. Please enter this into the official record for this public meeting. I agree with the complaints Mr. Ferrandino raises in his testimony regarding failure to have proper permits for the cannabis retail dispensary at 127 South Terrace Avenue. What is the point of having laws and regulations if the city does not enforce them? And our mayor cannot say she wasn't aware, since she and other top city officials were at the grand opening of the business. She should have known all was not in order with the paperwork. That is her job. I urge the zoning board to put Elevate on hold until all permits and variances are properly addressed. If you fail to do this, Mount Vernon will become a Wild West where anyone can build whatever they choose regardless of zoning and other city regulations.
Okay. So Mr. Ferrandino, do you want to address the board, or do you want us to read your letter in, or how do you want to? Okay.
Chairman Justino and members of the board, good evening. My name is Vince Ferrandino. I am a resident of Mount Vernon with offices at 45 Parkway West. I'm testifying this evening both as a resident property owner and an expert witness in the event of a potential Article 78 proceeding. I've testified as expert witness on many similar applications, and some of you may know I served as planning commissioner here and planning director, several other communities, and I have my own firm, Ferrandino and Associates. So let me get into this. And I want to say, first of all, that I'm not philosophically opposed to the use and dispensing of cannabis in any way, as long as it is done in accordance with the law. For the last 2 years, the retail dispensary at 127 South Terrace Avenue has failed to do so, with the knowledge and consent of the city administration. And it was at my behest back in November of 2024 that the planning board finally referred this application to your board for long-standing and obvious area variances. It has taken the applicant almost 1 year from that date to apply for these variances while still operating the business illegally at that location. Secondly, the dispensary has continued to operate despite the lack of permits and approvals from the city, putting its employees and customers at risk for lack of compliance with fire and safety regulations, including illegal assembly, accommodating hundreds of people at unauthorized after-hours marketing events in June of last year and as late as August 24th of this year. In reviewing the subject application and the city's report regarding same, I have several comments, questions that I want to put on the record tonight. But first, I want to ask 3 questions. Number 1, who are the members of the LLC that comprise the applicants for this project? Does the board know that? I'm just directing it to the chair.
Yeah, so there was an LLC submitted, but there is some discrepancy there is a discrepancy as to the name of the corporation on the LLC. Let me find my notes, so that.
If I may, what was submitted.
You can
was-
continue, and then I'll.
Was an operating agreement, not necessarily for the LLC, and it's dated long ago. So again, this is a matter of disclosure. I'm not trying to trap anyone or really be cute. I just need to know who the members of the LLC are, as I know this board and hopefully the planning board eventually will require that identification in every application that comes.
That is a
before.
requirement of all land use boards now.
Okay.
So go ahead, because I'm going to try to find
Okay,
it.
the second question is, where is the certificate of occupancy for this building? Now, when I submitted these comments to Mr. Herbert today at 4 p.m., I did not have the benefit of the documents that were subsequently put online. But the question I have is, why is this business permitted to operate even to this day without a temporary certificate of tenancy or a temporary certificate of occupancy, especially since this application was coming before the board tonight? That certificate of tenancy expired. So technically and legally, I'm not even sure there's any basis for this application coming before your board tonight because they have an illegal occupancy. Aside from the nonsense of continued extensions of certificate to temporary certificates of tenancy, temporary certificates of occupancy for almost 2 years. This is unheard of. Temporary certificates of occupancy and temporary certificates of tenancy are for interim periods after all permits and approvals from local boards have been obtained. This is putting the cart before the horse, or I hate to use the term, ass backwards. You're basically looking at certificates of tenancy and certificates of occupancy, temporary, that go on and on and on. So that's just an issue that I have for the record. This is not your concern. It is not within your purview. But I'm just wondering why this is allowed to continue. My third question is, where is the Elevate application for New York State Office of Cannabis Management license renewal? As without that application in hand, I believe this application is premature and perhaps illegal. Now, I know there was reference in the documents that Lucas provided to an application that has been filed. Where is the application? It should be put on the record this evening so we could see the contents of the application. Also, my understanding of state law is that in order for this operation to continue, the application for license renewal had to be filed no later than September 5th. In order to file that application by September 5th, part of the requirements for license renewal are approvals, all local approvals. They don't have ZBA approval. They don't have planning board approval. So I'm not even sure how the application for license and renewal can even be filed. So I would state for the record again, before any action is taken by this board, I would like to see, and I hope you would like to see, the application for license renewal. What does it contain? Are the references to approvals in hand? I hope not. But again, I'm just speculating, and I hope we would all have an opportunity to see that application. Now, I want to get into the application that was filed by Mr. Badali, and I'm shocked that he's not here this evening. I know that this gentleman is representing him, and that's fine, but Mr. Badali prepared the application, and a lot of my comments are directed to his work because he signed those applications. So I'm now going to go through this. First, let's take a look at the application that Mr. Badali filed. The undated application, undated, contains several factual errors and omissions. I'm not sure why it's undated. It could have been prepared 2 years ago. It could have been prepared 2 days ago. It's undated, very sloppy. On page 1 of the application information form, termed application type, the box for area variances was not checked. We don't know what he's applying for. On page 6 of the application information form, criteria for application referral, Mr. Badali incorrectly answered the question, is the subject property within 500 feet of a park or parkway lands? He answered no, when it should be yes. Obviously, that's one of the matters coming before your board this evening. Very sloppy. On page 1 of the legal authority, the variance requested narrative, in addition to stating area variances for distances from a place of worship and distance from a playground, he refers to parking variances for 21 spaces. Proposed parking spaces 10, required parking spaces 31, requiring an area variance of 68%, not including the loading space. This differs from the city planning department's calculations. Which is it and why is he confused? On page 2, he makes reference to section 26743 of the city code for a use variance. This is incorrect. The application's for 3 area variances. In his description of how the application meets the 5-pronged test, there are several factual errors and calculations. Let me go through the 5-prong test as quickly as I can. Prong number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting the variances. Distance from place of worship. Well, Mr. Badali states that the Fresh Start Christian Center Church is no longer occupying space at 115 South McQuestion Parkway. He fails to acknowledge that the church is relocated to 55 South McQuestion Parkway, still within 500 feet of the retail cannabis facility. And he incorrectly concludes that there will be no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. Prong number 2, distance from a playground. Mr. Badali's logic about walking distance from the Grove Street playground is contrived and convoluted. And the city planning department has confirmed my contention that the distance is measured in a straight line, or as the crow flies, as the city code intended. This is also well within the 500-foot distance parameter. Accordingly, he incorrectly concludes that there will be no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the area around the playground is residential, not industrial or not retail. So you have a retail cannabis facility within 500 feet of a residential neighborhood and the Grove Street playground. In addition to the illegal signage on the facade of the building, there is oversized metal fencing on the front lot that is illegal and may also require area variances, which are at odds with the character of the neighborhood. I have brought this to the attention of the building department many times. They totally ignore it. That fence is without a permit, and the sign on the facade of the building is without a permit, yet it's been in existence for 2 years. Parking deficiency, and I know this is an issue that, concerns the board. I disagree with Mr. Badali's parking calculations, allegedly requiring only 9 spaces. In his cover sheet, he claims the deficiency is 21 spaces. Again, which is it? In my view, the 1 parking space per 200 lineal feet criterion should apply to the entire building, retail and storage area. And now I heard this evening that the 2nd floor is also offices. This is a serious concern. I mean, the entire building is being used for retail use. Granted, the 1st floor is where they're actually selling the weed and people picking up orders, but the entire building is being used for cannabis use. And what is the use of the auto body space going to be put? I know you raised this issue earlier, Mr. Justino. If this use is discontinued and added to the cannabis use, the parking requirement will be even higher. South Terrace Avenue is heavily trafficked, and on-site and street parking is at a premium. Drive down there any day of the week. Cars already spill out into the street when the Elevate dispensary is busy, as well as when they have their illegal special events. Contrary to Mr. Badali's conclusions, a lack of parking does and will continue to be a detriment to the character of the neighborhood. Criterion 2, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the variance. Mr. Badali's logic is again flawed. The applicant knew what the rules were before he illegally converted his space from auto body to retail cannabis use. He's been operating illegally with the city's blessing for almost 2 years and has no choice now but to appeal to your board for the variances. He should have made this appeal before he illegally renovated the space. Criteria number 3, whether the requested variances are substantial. Contrary to Mr. Badali's wild assertions, the variances are substantial for the reasons I just mentioned. But now he contends that 31 parking spaces, not 9 or 10, are required, flip-flopping, as he's wont to do. Again, which is it? I'm confused. Criteria number 4, whether the proposed variances will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Contrary to Mr. Badali's conclusions, for the reasons mentioned above, the variances, if granted, will have an adverse impact on the neighborhood pertaining to parking, traffic, and noise from amplified music at special events. The final prong, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. Even the applicant admits that the difficulty was self-created by his renovating the buildings without permits. However, I disagree with Badali's contention that the requested variances are the minimum needed to seek the benefits sought by the client, as he claims. Let me move on to some comments on the applicant's short form EAF. This is an environmental concern under seeker. Mr. Badali prepared what's called a short form EAF on August 1, 2023. That's over 2 years ago. For a controversial application of this nature, a long form EAF should have been prepared, as the limited 3-page short form does not explore all the potential impacts of the project. Be that as it may, there are several factual errors and omissions in Mr. Badali's submission which need to be corrected for the environmental record. Now, there are several, but I'm just going to point out 2 for purposes of time. On page 2 of 3 of part 1 of the short form EAF, termed consistent with adopted comprehensive plan, this is a doozy, was checked yes, but should be checked no, or left blank. Why? Since no plan has been adopted, and the retail cannabis use with variances may not be consistent with the industrial character of the area. So what he basically checked yes, should be no. Will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? Was checked no. Okay, but should be checked yes, as the cannabis retail use generates more traffic than an auto body use, as it is open 7 days a week, drawing in many more customers. To prove or disprove this, a traffic study should have been provided for both site plan and area variance approvals. I recommended this to the planning board when they were reviewing site plan. It was completely ignored. I'm now requesting that such a study be prepared for this variance application. Let me get to the plan examiner's report. I have questions about the report pertaining to fire and safety requirements, especially with regard to access and egress, as sprinklers on the 2nd floor, which apparently have not been addressed, as there are no sprinklers on the 2nd floor, and that hasn't been addressed. Now we learn that there are potential officers. That's even worse. I will convey these concerns directly to the building department and to the planning board should the requested variances be approved. Comments prepared by planner Will Highland dated September 9th, 2025 regarding the subject application for area variances. I'm getting close to the end. While I appreciate the planning department's report, I have some differences with it that I want to convey for the record, which I believe affect the board's decision on the requested area variances. Let's take a look at location, proximity, the place of worship. My calculation for distance from the Fresh Start Christian Center Church at 55 South McCreston Parkway to 127 South Terrace Avenue in a straight line as the crow flies is 363.65 feet, as I reported to the planning board on July 10th, 2024. And I think Maria Pace will remember this because I addressed it to her to give to Mrs. Selson. Mr. Highland's calculation, however, is 445 feet, considerably further, translating to an area variance of only 11%. My calculation is 27.2%, much more substantial. That's very important. This is not just a minor variance. Parking. My calculation for required parking spaces is 31 based upon the entire area of the building used for the cannabis business, retail and storage and office above, not the 10 spaces post-loading that Mr. Highland cites. It is also predicated upon New York State Building Code Table 1004.5, which required for such uses. Now, this application is to the state of New York. Mount Vernon has its own outdated parking requirements for cannabis where they relate to retail, which I think, as Mr. Herbert was trying to explain, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but really not very useful in the context of what's happening with cannabis uses, not only in Mount Vernon, but all over the county. There are parking problems with cannabis uses all over the county. So since the application was submitted to the state, I think that should be a consideration. When the city council approved the cannabis law, they did not despite my recommendations to do so, provide separate parking requirements for this use, relying on retail calculations instead. That was short-sighted because the cannabis use draws many short-term customers buying and picking up cannabis orders, thus the need for more off-street spaces. Parking is already a problem on South Terrace, and the more on-site parking, the better, within reason. In addition, it is not indicated whether the space currently used for the auto body repair will continue to exist or become part of the retail cannabis use. If it is, even more off-site parking will be required. This issue should be resolved before any parking variances are considered by this board. Finally, comments from the Mount Vernon Fire Department. Not included in the fire department's latest report, which was made available late this afternoon, are issues pertaining to sprinkling the second floor, as well as access egress concerns which were previously identified. I am asking this board why these issues have been sidestepped in the latest review, as they do pertain to health and safety. Now directly to Mr. Highland's staff comments. The issue of distance from a place of worship and playground should not be predicated upon visual impacts alone. The fact that one may not be able to see the dispensary from these locations doesn't mean that its users will not be adversely affected. The 500-foot distance parameter was included in New York state law for a reason, just as distance from liquor stores and adult entertainment uses have been applied to prevent what I call secondary adverse effects. For example, a cannabis patron smoking weed in the playground where children play, or in front of a church where parishioners may be spilling out after a service. These concerns apply to the five-pronged test that are at the core of granting variances. So it's just not a visual impact. It's a neighborhood character impact. And anything within 500 feet, whether you can see it or not, should be considered as a neighborhood impact, especially on playgrounds where kids play and in places of worship where parishioners spill out onto the street. I do, however, concur with planning concerns about amplified music and large gatherings, as these events are illegal and must be prohibited under any circumstances. In summary, the variants requested are self-created and will adversely impact the character of the neighborhood. Further, the sordid history of this project, and I do stress the word sordid, going back 2 years without the benefit of any permits or approvals, must be taken into account. To approve these variances would be the equivalent of rewarding bad behavior after the fact, and would set a bad precedent for other similar projects, at least one of which in Fleetwood has been brought to the attention of the building department. There's an application, there's a retail cannabis dispensary in Fleetwood that has issues as well. Not as serious as this application, but they have issues as seriously with signage and parking. In addition, according to our mayor, 2 other retail cannabis projects are wending their way through the licensing process. Please take all of this into account and respectfully deny this ill-prepared and ill-conceived application for substantial area variances. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you. So the point that you want to respond to some of the things that were said? Is that why you're standing?
I was gonna welcome any additional question you might have. I think most of the points he came up with, or we were addressing them early in terms of parking and things of that nature, but,
Okay.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
Would it be, I don't know if it's appropriate, can you just stipulate to what the use is on the second floor? Because obviously, if someone goes and examines and looks at it, they'll be able to tell whether it's storage or office. But I don't think we have to go back and forth with this. I mean, is that possible?
So I'm not sure I understand.
Because there's this obviously there's a debate about office space versus storage space on the second floor. A physical examination would make the determination on what it is. So.
Well,
we don't have to sit here
so there
and
are
wonder about-
plans that
That's
were
what I'm saying.
submitted.
Huh?
There were plans that were submitted,
Okay.
and they do have the existing second floor plan,
And they state,
which says it's all storage.
okay, then let's stipulate that is this, that it is storage based on the plans and not discuss office again.
Well, I'm not sure I follow you down that path. They may surely be using this strictly as storage or stating it's strictly as storage. But I think it's incumbent upon us to think about the fact that, so there's two things. One is for the applicant, in the applicant's favor, they did not, this was the existing floor plan, which are all off, their offices, but they typed in storage. So
Still office?
There's no office spaces.
No, there's no,
Only
there's,
used for storage on the second floor, and the second floor does have sprinklers.
so here's my point in
The
this.
second floor is not
You're
used
asking,
for the.
hang on a
cap-
second, please.
So address me. So go ahead.
Yeah. So here's, I think, where the question comes up. When you look at the design of the second floor,
Okay.
it is designed as offices,
Okay.
okay? But because it doesn't say office, it says storage, and their intention may simply be to use it as storage.
Okay.
What is there is a second floor that could easily be converted and used for offices. I mean, it's not, if you were storing things, you would not have this setup. You would have shelving and open space and aisles and things like that. So it just
Or
begs
just
the
open-
question of what might the space be used for?
Upstairs in the same condition. when
That you
purchased.
found it.
Upstairs is the same condition. It was offices, whatever it was used for. This man's acquisitions is, this man's a criminal. I want to
It's
put that
not-
on record.
Well, no, we're not gonna say.
But
So,
this-
I'm not gonna
I
talk
did
about
not-
that.
And if you're gonna talk disparagingly about anybody who
Who's gonna-
spoke, that you
So-
don't agree
Leave out of
with
this
or not,
because
you
it's not.
need to stop that.
So I have a question on the floor. So again, I hear what you're saying. I follow. I follow,
Take a
it's
deep
okay.
breath.
I follow your question, and all I am saying is then we can easily discern what it's being used as now, because I just, this back and forth about office storage is like, let's stipulate to something. That's all I'm saying. Stipulate to it being storage.
Okay.
That's all.
Although, so when you say let's stipulate, make that a condition of the approval?
Yeah, that is storage. Yeah, so we don't have the back and forth on it. That's all.
Oh, so, we, to say, let's eliminate the back and forth, it's discussion. And that's what we're here for, is to discuss things.
And I get it, but
And-
but it seems like, and I mean, my original question is, can we do can we do a physical examination? Can someone go and see and say, it's storage, or it's office? That's my question.
Okay, so let me just say, I don't believe it's being used as offices.
Okay,
Okay, so I don't believe that. That's not where I'm coming from.
okay,
And I'm not calling them offices. I'm looking at the plan and I see that they are set up as offices. They're not set up as storage. However, I'm sure and we could go look if you want to request a walkthrough, that they are being used as storage. But the only thing I say, or when I see that, is it says to me that, there's flexibility. If they somehow want to put offices in there, it's very easy to do. So,
that's what anything.
and you know what, and
There's flexibility with anything. and
Anything,
everything.
right,
I
exactly,
mean,
so.
If you're remodeling or finishing up a basement, there's flexibility for everything.
Right.
But we cannot be policing we cannot, it's just impossible.
So-
We need to go based on what the applicant is saying. He's saying it's storage.
Right,
The
so.
buildings department should be doing. the
And
inspections.
that's what I'm saying. So like, is somebody responsible? That's my question. Someone responsible for doing an inspection to say it is what it is, and whatever's checked on the plans, does it say it? Let's stipulate to that, and let's take that issue off the table and let's focus on some others. That's all.
well, I don't see it to be a big issue. It was brought up by Mr. Ferrandino.
Well, it
I don't
is
think
an
we've
issue
been
when it comes to
well-
parking though, so it does become it becomes an issue. So that's why it's important. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay. Okay, but I think we would need to read the parking reg that the state has before we say that, oh, they're using it as storage, doesn't matter, because I'm not sure we know that to be a fact, that it does not factor into the state's determination.
Hence inspection, hence building or
So
whomever goes.
I think
inspect,
what
see
we
it,
need
and
is
then
to
make a
look at the
determination.
state reg closer.
Okay.
Which state regulation are you talking about?
Isn't that what you had said, that isn't that what the plan examiner said? They chose the city's interpretation
That she,
and not the state's?
and not the one that had been put forth by the applicant, which was the 31 spaces. Like, let me get the plan examiner report.
Right, we did use the city's regulations for the parking requirements,
Right.
which is what I think,
Probably one of
Okay.
those applicants, okay? There were no set.
The problem is the process, Elvira.
It-
It's
it-
very irregular.
Mhm.
And so it creates issues.
and therefore, with what he brought up as well, the matter of TCO being renewed every time is like the process is kind of shifting, the goal line is shifting, so we kind of have to keep extending it,
I
you
can
know?
understand as an applicant that is frustrated,
Right.
but, you know, we need to then, if we want to be honest with you, let's talk about why that is. And I'm going to hold my comments to an extent, but I can tell you, and I brought up a number of things that says to me, I don't know what to believe. Here's what we saw initially. There were letters by Mr. Badali. There, people that have seen and taken pictures of body work being done and denial that that's even happening. So there's just a lot that it's hard to sitting here to tell what's real or what's true or what's not. So
There's any way we can ask Mr. Badal how he came with needing the 30 spaces that he proposed in the.
I guess, I mean, I thought it was based on the state's
Right, so it
recommendations.
was based on the state's requirement for parking for retail, which is overly extensive. It pretty much basically, as to what was stated earlier in terms of retail spaces and like Kohl's or Target, there's a lot of, so then the requirement for marijuana dispensaries was now shifted, at least in Mount Vernon, to follow the regulations of the city. So that shifted the amount of parking spaces required for retail, which is 1 part 200 square feet, which narrows it down to 8 spaces based on the amount of square footage that we have.
Okay, that makes sense. I get it. So it's a change in the standards that you were using first state, then Mount Vernon changes and you use city, hence the change.
Right, based on the new dispensary regulations that were put up.
And the other question I have, so, and this is zoned, this is commercial zone, business zone, commercial?
Well, it's industrial.
Industrial,
They have a huge
industrial.
variance.
So there's gonna be noise and traffic because it's industrial, right? So it's not a,
Except the building across that's being constructed, is that an apartment building for residential? It's gonna be massively residential.
but it's
Once the
zoned,
building.
but it's zoned industrial. Are you changing the zoning to residential?
All I know is it's gonna be a lot of people living across the
That-
street.
That's a risk you take, going into an industrial.
Going to the LLC question, did you find
Yeah, I
the
found
paper
something.
who are?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, but I thought we would get through this first, that
Oh, okay.
maybe we should just change the subject for now.
So do we have to
Yeah,
verify
change the subject.
LLC? So we're
We
supposed to.
we have that.
Say that again, I'm sorry, what's the question?
We have the LLC operating agreement.
All right, but I have a question about the LLC operating agreement.
Okay.
So here's my question. Statement of organization of the sole organization of South Terrace Auto LLC. This application is not by South Terrace Auto LLC. It's by 127 South Terrace Avenue LLC. So if this is all we have, we don't have the LLC, the operating agreement. Is this what you have, Lucas?
Yeah, this is it.
Right. So that does not match the applicant.
So what does that,
What does it mean? I don't know what it means. It may be exactly the same, but it just, again, it adds to all of this mystery and, you know,
we don't know who we're dealing with.
sloppy, just the whole thing is sloppy.
But in terms of this process, if it doesn't match, then
Well, it's not acceptable. Then they
then
don't.
it's not
and
acceptable.
they don't.
And why are we here?
They don't meet the qualifications to even discuss this with us, right? Because
Right.
that's a required thing. So.
Well, that's a very.
You know, we
basic
get back
step.
to the same old issue. I would recommend that at this point in time, we adjourn this meeting. It's getting late. I think unfortunately, the applicant himself decided to leave. He's having trouble holding his temper, and I can understand he's aggravated and concerned. I think it's important that Mr. Badali be here at a meeting because there are many things that we've talked about that he was directly involved in, and it's not fair to you, because you can't really answer them. And it's unfortunately part of the history and background with this application, so. We don't want to delay things any further, but, you know, we're hearing it when it finally got supposedly perfected, although we're seeing that's not necessarily the case either. So I guess the thing is you can ask where, one thing we do need is the correct LLC.
Yes.
So, that's a simple thing.
With the,
Certificate.
and it's
Tennessee.
renewed, because it seems as if it was renewed, but we don't know for sure.
It
I
was
thought I
recommended,
said-
it said recommended, but it wasn't,
I
that
thought I
doesn't mean
said
it was renewed.
Thought I saw it.
Okay, so then,
It's still showing open on OpenGov, I guess. So, I mean, it may be very close to being done, but it's not on record.
as to
correct?
the question of why did it take so long for your client to apply for the variance? What's the answer to that?
I believe it's because of the lack of the regulations for the dispensary, at least in Mount Vernon. I believe that was the issue. There was still there was a hold due to they were still trying to set the standards and the requirements.
It was set like 9 months ago, is that right? It didn't, when were the standards set?
I might be wrong, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Because of Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to take them.
Yeah, I think-
Table it, yeah.
So let's just make sure we are, we know what we want to see for the next meeting. We want to see the LLC, but from staff, we want to see what was used to get to the 30 spaces, if the states, so we can have a copy of that and we can review it and understand better. And Nkechi, you and I spoke briefly. I don't know if I should even bring that up at this point in time relative, because it was, the question came up earlier, whether the zoning board had the right to question the building department's determination. And I believe you said then that there does indicate that we do have that right. But it's not totally clear. So why don't you send that to us so that we can read it at our leisure and understand it better? As to whether we really, it's just like, oh, we are deciding on what has been given to us, or there's reason on the board to say, this doesn't make sense to the board.
Any other action needed from us to table?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Need a motion?
Yeah, we do need a motion to
So moved.
Adjourn the meeting till next.
Or to adjourn? I thought to table this.
Well, same thing, I
Okay.
think, right?
Okay.
Adjourn the application
Language.
and then close the meeting.
Close the meeting. So
Yes.
moved.
The both, I second.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, so we'll adjourn till next month, and let me see if there's anything else on this that we have to talk about. No, our next meeting is Tuesday, October 21st, 6:30, work session at 6 o'clock. And, again, just relative to, sending a note to Mr. Vidali that he present at the next meeting.
Yes, I'm sending to your one.
Actually, it's.
Motion to adjourn,
Comments are on open.
public session.
There's a attachment folder that says.
Close.
Public comments.
We did it double.